The next item on our agenda is ZR 1311. Mr. Crowe, if you would, please.
Through the chair, we have two items before the council tonight, ZR 1311, which is a rezoning request of Golden Corral Associates. On behalf of the owner, Corral of Tri-County Inc., to rezone from OS Office Service to B2 Planned Business. If the zoning amendment is approved by the council, you also have for consideration GP 1229, SP 1282, special use and site plan review. Now, these are two separate public hearings, but I'd like to make one presentation at this time.
Request of Fortune Martin Associates on behalf of the owner, Corral of Tri-County Incorporated, to rezone the property from OS Office Service to B2 Planned Business. The property is located at 29350 Southfield Road on the east side of Southfield Road at Edwards Avenue in Section 12 of the city. The subject property, as well as the properties to the north and to the south across Edward Avenue, are zoned OS Office Service. The property to the west across Southfield Road is zoned OS Office and B1 neighborhood business. The properties to the east are zoned RE single-family residential. With regard to the existing land use, the subject property is vacant. The property to the north is developed with an office complex. The properties to the west across Southfield Road are developed with the Southfield County Shopping Center and an office building. The property to the south across Edwards Avenue is developed with the Comerica Bank. The properties to the east are developed with single-family homes fronting both Edwards Avenue and Lathrop Street. The total acreage of the two properties proposed for rezoning to B3 general business is 2.77 acres of land. The rezoning will allow for the redevelopment of the property for mixed uses in accordance with the comprehensive master plan. There is 280.4 feet of frontage along the Southfield Road and a depth of 431.7 feet. Issues considered by the Planning Department during the review of the rezoning were: the proposed rezoning will be in accordance with the Southfield Comprehensive Master Plan that indicates North Southfield Road subarea local mixed uses for this parcel. The proposed rezoning to B2 Planned Business will allow the petitioner to redevelop the property with new land uses compatible with the abutting existing development and in accordance with the Comprehensive Master Plan. The proposed rezoning will not have adverse effects upon any of the adjoining zoning or land uses. Special use and site plan review request of Fortune Martin Associates on behalf of the owner, Corral of Tri-County Incorporated, for the construction of a Golden Corral restaurant. The property is located at 29350 Southfield Road on the east side of Southfield Road at Edwards Avenue in Section 12 of the city. The subject property, as well as the properties to the north and to the south across Edwards Avenue, are zoned OS Office Service, with the subject property being proposed for rezoning to B2 Planned Business per ZR 1311. The property to the west across Southfield Road is zoned OS Office Service and B1 neighborhood business. The property to the east is zoned RE single-family residential. With regard to the existing land use, the subject property is vacant. The property to the north is developed with an office complex. The properties to the west across Southfield Road are developed with the Southfield County Shopping Center and an office building. The property to the south across Edwards Avenue is developed with the Comerica Bank. The properties to the east are developed with single-family homes fronting both Edwards Avenue and Lathrop Street. The site contains 2.77 acres of land with 280.4 feet of frontage on Southfield Road and a depth of 431.17 feet. The special use request is to allow a freestanding restaurant within the B2 planned business district. The submitted site plan reflects the construction of a 12,050 gross square foot Golden Corral restaurant with associated parking. The parking required for the development is 149 spaces with 177 provided on site. The landscape provided exceeds the requirements of the zoning ordinance. The elevation shows a mix of brick, horizontal lap siding, glass, and a metal roof. Issues considered by the planning department during the review of the special use and site plan orders, the special use general standards and conditions of the B2 planned business district, pedestrian access from Edwards Avenue and Southfield Road. Proposal is in accordance with the Southfield Comprehensive Master Plan, noting North Southfield Road sub-area, local mixed use for this parcel. On-site stormwater detention, traffic impact, landscape screening along rear of the property. The petitioner is to implement recommendations made by the Southfield Police Department's Crime Prevention Bureau regarding site security.
Good evening through the chair. Again, I'm just going to show the site location, which is Southfield running north-south, Edwards Ave running east-west, and the property for consideration tonight is the former office complex which burned down in the fall. Proposed zoning is from OS, which is highlighted in the light blue, to B2, which is similar to right here across the street. The master plan indicates the areas along Southfield Road as the North Southfield Road sub-area, and it's further indicated as local mixed-use potential redevelopment sites, this being Edwards Ave, this being Southfield Road running north-south, and the proposed development is indicated here. You also, after the rezoning public hearing, are considering the site plan and special use. And at this time, I'm going to ask the representatives of Golden Corral to come up and do a brief presentation before you open your first public hearing.
Please give your name and address for the record.
Good evening, yes. Larry Weiland. Our corporate office is 5151 Glenwood Avenue, Raleigh, North Carolina. I am the real estate director for Golden Corral. I handle the Midwest part of the country. If I can, let me just look at some photos here. I've never used one of these before, so bear with me here. This first slide here discusses one reason why we come to Southfield. This is a chart that we use in Golden Corral that we instituted in our system for the last 5 years. This is only 5 years of what we do here. What we do here is we rate our restaurant. This chart shows in Southfield we have designated the population of what is there, and there at the bottom is Golden Corral daytime employment and median household income, that's 2 family working, and weighted households, which we consider to be Golden Corral customers. And this site is probably one of the strongest sites we've seen in our demos, I would say, in my 4.5 years doing this work. If you look at right here at the top, look at Southfield, that's our top 25 stores in the company, not counting tourist restaurants like, say, Disney and what have you. You can see traffic count 51 against the top 25. Daytime population 15,000, and just look across the board there. You can see underachievers. 2-mile daytime 39 for Southfield versus the rest of the other stores. You can see all the way across the board here that we score in Southfield. It's a great market for us, way above anything that would, it just surpasses all these other top 25% of our company. shows the elevations of the building that we looked at earlier. It shows more of a color rendering of what brick we use or what shingles we use. You can see that our interior here, you know, there's going to be some comments tonight about maybe a closed down restaurant or that's maybe happened in the last 10 years. We're a restaurant chain of 575 plus restaurants. We do $1.9 billion a year in sales as a company, and we change a lot. We're the only buffet concept in America that makes changes to keep up with the times. This is the inside look of our store in Westland. The store is 7 years old. That's a 7-year-old restaurant right there you're looking at. There's a picture of Westland again. That's pictures of Westland, 7-year-old restaurant. Shows the new bars, the new buffet, a different look than what happened 5 or 10 years ago. Now this is an enhanced. This one here. This is your store, Kurt, right here. Okay, this is your store. So this is the entrance to Southfield, to Westland. There's your landscaping pictures there. Okay, and there's our site plan there. So you can see that our inside look. We've only posted here pictures of what is in Westland, and our new store will look exactly the same with some more updates. It's kind of like Walmart, you know. At one time, Walmart had small buildings, and they're all closed because y'all went to superstores, bigger stores. Our stores were 5,000 square feet, and now they're 11,000, 12,000 square feet because we know that we need that kind of size building to do what we need to do in a community. So that kind of catches up with that a little bit. One thing that we're going to try to do tonight is we're going to present facts, not could be, should be, would be, but just facts about Golden Corral. I've been at Golden Corral for 34 years, since I'm 21 years old. So I've been there. I was a franchise in Indianapolis for 8 years, and I'm on the real estate side now for about 4 years over. Why do we want to come to Southfield? First of all, the property meets our criteria for location. We have the right amount of land, we have the right traffic, we have the retail near us, office development near us for lunchtime. Our 5-mile population is way above what we need. The demographic, employment, and traffic statistics of this location were analyzed and compared to the 10 benchmark criteria for the top 25 non-tourist Golden Corral stores. The results, as I showed you before, this location above average in all 10 site criteria. It's within the approved franchise market area number 7 that Kurt Patel owns. He has 2 other restaurants and the ability to build 3 more in the Metro Detroit area. So we ask ourselves, why do we want to come to Southfield? I thought about that a lot, and I thought about this meeting a lot. I don't live here, but I've been here for the last 5 weeks and really trying to put my arms around why here. So if it's okay with the chair, I'd like to just hand out a little thing that we did. First of all, we will hire 100% 175 employees in this restaurant. That's our normal hiring process for new stores. Wages, when the jobs created, will be $1.5 million each year over 5 years. That $7.5 million wages will be circulating in this community. Payroll taxes, there will be $200,000 a year over 5 years, it's $1 million. So multiply times 5 if you like. Investment to build this restaurant. Right now, we're at $4.5 million to build the restaurant. That's property, building, furniture and fixtures of $800,000, site work. Property tax paid to the city of Southfield, $50,000, $100,000 a year over 5 years. That's $250,000 at $500,000. Sales tax in the state of Michigan, $300,000 over a year over 5 years, $1.5 million. Sales tax revenue close to $300,000 a year over 5 years, $1.5 million. Annual sales close to $5 million over 5 years, $20 to $25 million will be circulated locally, currently locally. Golden Corral is a restaurant destination. Many of our guests come from miles around and shop after they eat. Estimations are the average Golden Corral destination dinner spends 4 times as much as any other business they do at a Golden Corral. That was a significant impact on local retail, grocery, gas stations, thousands of dollars streaming to your city through Golden Corral Diner. 25 or more local vendors will provide products and services to this restaurant. All the concerns, and I was in every city planning meeting, all the concerns that were brought up outlined in this report on cooking odors, rotting food in the dumpsters, rodent control, hours of operation, site lighting, noise control, traffic control, which we'll talk about later. All the concerns that were brought up in all those meetings, we had the attitude we will do whatever it takes to make it work. And that's the attitude we took in fixing or trying to come up with all the solutions that were asked by us. We never, ever, ever said to anybody, we will not do this. So, when you look at facts, not could be, would be, or should be, these are true facts. How many people we're going to hire? What kind of money we put in the community? How we rate the other markets within the top 10. Like someone said to me one time, this is a no-brainer. This is what Detroit needs. It needs jobs. It needs people to work. We are a family restaurant. 2 questions came up in the meeting was, well, you're the same. We're not the same. We're not fast food. We don't have a drive-thru. We eat on real plates, real silverware. Servers take care of customers. As I think about Southfield, I've been driving all up and down today. Where can I go with a church group after church and walk in a restaurant on Southfield Road with 75 people and have a dinner or a family dinner and still be open? Where can I bring a ball team when a soccer field comes to the community and they want to enjoy a group atmosphere? So these are some of the questions we talked about. So what can we bring to Southfield? Diversity as far as food, a family environment where people can eat for $10 for dinner, $7, $8 for lunch, have a buffet all you can eat, where the kids can enjoy their time and the parents can get a break. We are a family restaurant. We're not a high-end restaurant. We're not fancy like, let's say, Cheesecake Factory, but we're meat and potatoes. We are what people want, and we're here to stay. You know, we're not going anywhere. I guess I'll just sum up and say I really believe that we are really all what 270,000 people that are in this 5-mile radius would enjoy eating at a Golden Corral. They come eat, they come shop. You would be happy with us in your community. We do stuff with the Veterans Association, the Children's Network. schools, churches to raise money, senior programs in the afternoon. Some of my stores play bingo. We do all kinds of things. People that eat at Golden Corral, we will help other restaurants and bring people to town. We are just an asset for you, and I think that as you look at the facts, and you look at the numbers, you look at the pictures, you can tell that we are not what we were 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago. We are constantly changing. What you see today, next year, like now in our stores, we're putting in chocolate fountains, cotton candy machines, cotton candy chocolate fountains, something new in the stores now. Hand-dipped ice cream is going in now. It's an addition to what we do, because we know that there's nobody out there in the restaurant business that can do what we can do in the buffet business. So I appreciate your time. I appreciate your working this late for a cause to help your communities. But I really, really believe with all my heart, one thing is we're telling you facts. We're here to play games. That the $5 million or $4.5 million, whatever it takes to get this restaurant built, it will help your community. It will bring people here. It'll hire people here, pay taxes here. And everything we've done to try to help the neighbors and make that whole back, with the lighting and the fencing and the trees and all the stuff we'll talk about later. We've done all that to make just to make you guys happy. So I appreciate your time, and I hope that any questions you may have that we can get them answered in a way that will help you make the right choices. Thank you.
Is there anyone else from the petitioner that would like to speak? Could you give your name and address for the record?
My name is Sam Dorchin. I'm with Dorchin Martin Associates. My office is at 29895 Greenfield in Southfield, Michigan. My business has been in Southfield for 25 years, and I would like to say that it's been a pleasant experience all of that time, and I would value any business such as this moving in. My business is just about 1 mile east on Greenfield. One of the things that I'd like to point out, a little bit of history on how I evaluated this site when it came to me, is that the first thing I looked at was the use. We, generally what we do is we review the use and the site with the planners. First, we get departmental reviews. We do revisions all along the way, and then we begin the planning commission process, as you're all familiar with. And in this case, we were at 4 planning commission meetings, and all during that time we were involved with meetings where the public was involved and brought in all of their complaints, their concerns, and what we did was respond to each one of those. We obviously have to meet the zoning ordinance requirements, and so you'll see in that particular slide that the building is located, and we meet all of the side yard requirements, but it's located close to the Southfield right-of-way. When we first began, the building was back at least another 20 to 25 feet, and then the neighbors complained of the possibility of sound and disturbance and traffic. We moved the building closer to Southfield. Another thing that we did that we feel would remove the possibility of excess sound was install or design the retention pond, which is a rain garden type, rain garden type retention pond, which south. Originally, we had a drive that was a little farther north on Southfield. We moved it, much farther south, as far as we could for safety reasons, and we only allow a right turn out of the site, and we have a right turn in and a left turn for those heading south. The pathways that you see on the site by the dashed lines are pedestrian pathways that will be marked on the actual site. The right-of-way that we recognize in accordance with the county and city requirements is 102 feet just from the center line of the road to 1 foot back of the sidewalk. This provides probably 150% more landscaping than existed before this. Also, you'll notice there's a sidewalk on Southfield, on the Southfield Road side, that did not exist, or does not exist now, and didn't exist when the existing office building was in place. Many of the comments that the residents had that I'd like to address, one had to do with odors. In your packet, there is a description of the electronic and oxygenated odor removal system, both from trash and from cooking odors. As far as rodent control, we have with us tonight the pest control person who handles the owner's other two facilities. I've had a very interesting discussion with him about the problem of rodent control, and we'll find that it is not a problem in any of either of his other two facilities, primarily due to the care that he takes with trash, and if there is no food and odors that are exposed in his Westland site, there are no rodent problems at all. Get back a little bit to the process where the public and the adjacent residents were heard. One of the things that came up was that the Planning Commission found to be relevant was the sound, and if you'll notice, there is much more landscaping. The hours of the facility are the facility is open until 9:30, 9 o'clock, 9:30 during the week, and that's Monday through Friday, and 11 o'clock. And this should be in your packet as well. Monday through Thursday, it's 11 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. Friday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Saturday, 7:30 a.m. to 10 p.m. and Sunday, 7:30 to 9:30. So breakfast is served only on the weekends. The Planning Commission, in their after the 4 meetings, voted and it seemed very well satisfied with everything that we had done to respond to the neighbors. Voted 6-1 to approve the rezoning and unanimously to approve we have done what we could to meet all of the requirements. There is a vacant site there now, and this will be a very attractive addition. We have responded to the adjacent neighbors, the business, as well as the residents, and have found a very positive response, which we will provide to you in a little bit later. And the traffic information, we have shown and we will show that there is a negligible impact based on this restaurant, even at peak hours. I'd like to make a comment about the discussion that I had with one of the council members who feels that small businesses will be driven out by this particular facility going into business as described by Mr. Weiland. It's been found through actual experience that more people come in to the area. Southfield is a busy street. As more people will recognize the value of the Golden Corral, more people come in and shop at the local businesses, and there's no documents to show that any businesses have been driven out by the Golden Corral. If you have any questions of us, there are we have some more presentations to make, but I will have it come shortly.
Is there anyone else from the petitioner that wishes to speak on behalf of this?
Through the chair, just for the sake of time, there is a brief presentation on the traffic, but I'm going to recommend that they hold the presentation until questions come up from either the council or the public.
Is there anyone else from the petitioner that wants to speak? If not, if you come to the microphone, give your name and address for the record.
My name is Jared. My office address is 11660 East 11 Mile Road, Warren, Michigan 48089. Currently, I own and operate two Golden Corral, one in Port Huron, one in West End. That is with the help of my 7 managers. Out of 7, 5 of them are here to show this report. The address 11660 has been in my family since 1989. I'm not one of the guys overnight developer. I'm here to stay. Where I live, I've been living since 1998. Built at the house, I'm still there. Going back to our 11660 address, and they're almost 22 years. I'll repeat myself, I'm not an overnight person. What will this Golden Corral bring? This Golden Corral will bring 175 real jobs. Property tax to the city, $50,000 to $100,000 a year. That is with an investment of $4.5 million. Wages, annual wages, $1.5 million a year. Over 5 years, $7.5 million in wages in the community. Over 10 years, that is $15 million in wages. I'll repeat, $15 million in wages that is circulating in local economics. Sales tax of $300,000 a year to the state of Michigan. Over 5 years, 1.5. Over 10 years, $3 million to the state of Michigan. all these dollars are coming to the city of Southfield as this proposal gets rezoned, and to state of Michigan. Which small business or who in this community, who is creating all these jobs? Our president saying, I believe you all believe that small businesses create jobs. Here is a small business that is going to create 175 jobs. This investment of $4.5 million is going to be by private dollars through banks, not through the city, not through no government agency, private dollars. I'm not asking for any tax abatement. I'm not asking for nothing from the city. I'm bringing my own money through the bank to make this investment.
Is there anyone else from the petitioner that wants to speak? If not, I will declare the public hearing open. This is for ZR 1311. Please give your name and address for the record.
Yes, I will, thank you. My name is Diane Anderson, and I am speaking today on behalf of the Big Boy Restaurant on Southfield Road. The address is 29700 Southfield Road. It's been there for about 38 years. And because the gentleman from the Carolinas, North Carolina, I guess, doesn't know too much about the area, I'd like to give him a little history because I have a 60-year association with this area that is uninterrupted. Southfield and Lathrop, which is where my ties actually are, is one of the old inner ring suburbs that came about after World War II. It developed its heyday of development within the 50s, the 60s, and the 70s. And during that time, zoning regulations were put in place to ensure a number of things. One of those was a proper balance between residential and commercial development. Another was to ensure a balance within areas zoned commercial to ensure that office space and retail space, and that includes standalone restaurants as opposed to restaurants and office blocks, didn't conflict within an area. And equally important was making sure that saturation coverage of any type of commercial development in any sector did not result in new businesses undermining the commercial viability of existing businesses. This area between 11 Mile and 13 Mile and Southfield, which is the area that will be immediately impacted by this restaurant, is currently served by 30 family restaurants. There are 10 restaurants in the Big Boy complex alone. There are 4 in Lathrop. And in addition to all of these restaurants, there is a plethora of family restaurants in Southfield. For example, just around the corner on 11 Mile and Greenfield, we have the Ponderosa restaurant that has been there certainly since I was in high school, and I graduated the class of 67 from Southfield High. So it's been there a long time. And then we are also very close to Berkeley, Royal Oak, and Birmingham that also have a plethora of family restaurants. Now, in case the gentleman isn't aware, we are currently in the worst economic crisis this country has faced since the Great Depression of 1929. We know that we are facing massive unemployment, consumer and corporate debt, the meltdown of real estate, both residential and commercial, the loss of jobs permanently overseas, the corresponding decline in wages and purchasing power for average Americans, and the loss of purchasing power for the dollar. With people making less and fearful for their jobs, there is unprecedented competition for the increasingly limited discretionary spending of the consumer dollar, and eating out is definitely discretionary spending. The lot in question at one stage, as you have said, was an office, and offices provide customers for those 30 existing businesses in that 2-mile strip. This business is a behemoth that's going to come in and take customers away. There will be a net loss. In fact, I'm very glad that the gentleman brought up the Walmart analogy, Because anyone that knows anything about Walmart knows it is a destroyer of jobs, a net destroyer. It comes into an area, it creates low-paying jobs, and it destroys many viable local businesses, some of which have been there for generations. The existing restaurants, particularly those like the Big Boy that has been there for 38 years, starting out on the RV site for many, many years over on the east side of Southfield now, have made financial commitments based upon the current zoning regulations. They never anticipated something the size of a Golden Corral would come in and take their business away. The city of Southfield actually has a declining population number, as we know from the last census, as do most of the areas in South Oakland County and South Macomb. It has also experienced the loss of some commercial properties, such as Blue Cross, going back to Detroit. In this economic climate, to allow another family restaurant into an area that already has saturation coverage is absolutely irresponsible. It would be a betrayal of those businesses that have been here for so many years. As I've said, the Golden Corral proposal is not a job creation scheme, it's a shell game. It's a trade-off. You're looking to get a new business into a site that's been vacant because the current people took their insurance money and ran and didn't redevelop the site. And you're prepared to sacrifice long-term businesses and their employees. A business like Big Boy that has served this community well for 38 years. To do that, I also would warn you, a little caveat emptor, sends a very dangerous message to other businesses in Southfield. It's not a state secret to know that throughout southern Macomb and Oakland counties, the long-established communities that were built up after World War II are losing population. Little towns like Romeo in Macomb County and Clarkston and Milford and New Hudson in northern Oakland County. These are the growth areas. This is where the population is. Country towns 25 years ago had huge, huge residential complexes now.
Your time is up.
Well,
Can I give you a minute longer? I gave you 6 minutes to talk.
will I be able to address the second, since it's two separate motions?
Sure.
Could I do it at once, or?
When we have the next public hearing, you can come
Okay,
back.
I'll take
You
up
have 5
where I
minutes.
left off.
Thank you.
Pamela Gerald, P.O. Box 155, Southfield, Michigan, 48037-0155. My telephone number is 248-352-9188. I am in such agreement with this lady here. Now, I just want to bring up a couple of points. All of you are Southfield residents. Imagine coming from 13 miles on Southfield Road and you're headed south. You cannot turn left. It is hard. Where this restaurant is going to be, it's relatively close to the gas station. Try turning into the gas station, making a left before you get to that light. It is utter chaos. She was right about the fact that there's 30 restaurants. Now, Edward Street is a residential area. I'm sure they don't want that. I hope that you guys are listening. There was a Golden Corral, and I'm sure it wasn't owned by this same gentleman, but it's a company name that was in the Flint Township. They had a problem with food not being at the proper temperature. The restaurant wasn't well kept. The parking lot wasn't well kept. Not to say that it would be the same for this guy, but they totally went out of business or were shut down. A lot of these restaurants are not maintaining their parking lot and their outside structure, but we don't have a checks and balance. No one goes to check. Now, we're talking about developing the Northland area. There are several restaurants like Country Buffet and others that are in mall areas. You've got a ton of parking at Northland. You've got a plethora of space at Northland. This restaurant should not be on Southfield Road. It should be in Northland Mall. Now, if they're going to do all that they said they're going to do on Southfield Road, Do it in Northland Mall and redevelop that area. This is a prime business to go right in that mall. Now, 175 jobs at the expense of the other jobs on the Southfield Road Strip. If you want to revitalize Northland, put these 175 jobs in the mall. Then those people in the mall working at Golden Corral would spend their would spend their money on their lunch break because they don't have to leave the store, so to speak, or to leave the complex. You are cluttering Southfield Road, and you're not redeveloping the Northland area. Then the last thing that I wanted to say, because it seems like my time is up. People come in and they use these keywords: churches, seniors, children, and community outreach. All of these restaurants here, the new ones that have not been here for 25, 30, or more years, they came in using those same keywords, and you guys gave them this restaurant. Go to some of these existing restaurants, like on that northwestern highway strip, and look at how they're not being maintained. Look at the parking lot. Look at the restaurants that connect to some of the smaller hotels. You would be outraged. I'm asking that you do not put this location there, that you do not approve any rezoning, and put it in Northland Mall so you can revitalize the downtown area that you've been talking about. Is my time up? Oh, okay. Then the next point that I wanted to make, he talked about real plates and silverware. Let me tell you about the Golden Corral in Flint. You're right. You use plates, you use silverware. The plates are scratched. They're stained with the different colored gravies from the food. And if you look at how busy a Golden Corral is, the plates come out wet, and the silverware is not always clean. Why? Because you're not quite staffed, and you're doing more with less like everybody. So you always start off like the casinos with all these jobs and employing all the people in the area. Look at what they've done to the casinos. They're not manned by regular people anymore. Everything is automated. You don't go to a person to cash in your winnings. You stick it in an ATM machine-like device, and they give it to you. So it's good to use all these keywords, but I don't buy it. I think this project would be better in Northland Mall, and I think putting it on Southfield Road is going to hurt some of those businesses that have been there, that's been committed. You guys are cluttering these areas, and I agree with this young lady.
No, you're fine.
You want to quickly develop it because it hasn't been developed in a while, or since it burnt down.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Come to the microphone. Give your name and address for the record. You have 5 minutes.
Okay, good evening. My name is Dan Blugerman, and my address is 37,000 Grand River in Farmington. And I'm a commercial real estate person and help in some of the effort. And we reached out to some of the neighbors along in Southfield and asked if they could give us their thoughts. And so I'm here to read some of the letters and provide a copy to Terry. From Comerica Bank at 29252 Southfield Road, from the desk of Donna Miles, Banking Center Manager. Dear interested parties, please be advised that I'm the Comerica Banking Center Manager, located at the corner of Southfield Road and Edwards. For the record, I would be extremely elated if the Golden Corral was located across from our banking center on Edwards. We find no negatives involved with this proposed location for the Golden Corral. If I may be of any further assistance, please feel free to give me a call. Thank you, Danelle Miles. To herself, there's a letter addressed to Mr. Crow. I'm the manager of the office building located at 29200 Southfield Road. This email is being written to indicate that I am not opposed to the proposed use of property north of ours for a Golden Corral restaurant. It would be good to see this site developed, and tenants in our building might find the restaurant beneficial to them. Thank you for considering my views. Sincerely, Robert Citron, Citron Family, LLC. To the north, next door in the Woodfield Center, is Ariel Enterprises, and we have a letter from Ariel Enterprises. They addressed it to me. I believe the tenants at Woodfield Office Park would welcome the proposed Golden Corral as a convenient location for lunches. Best of luck with the rezoning effort. Sincerely, Ariel Enterprises. To my 5 minutes, and then I'll come back later with the rest. Southfield City Council, the honorable members of from the Chaldean American Chamber of Commerce. The honorable members of Southfield City Council. I am writing to support a new business in Southfield, the Golden Corral Restaurant at Southfield Road and Edwards Avenue. As an organization that represents numerous businesses in Southfield, I'm personally excited about the addition of Golden Corral. It will be great for this area, expanding our dining options with quality food choices at affordable prices. Golden Corral's reputation is admirable. They offer a variety of homemade, fresh food in a family-friendly atmosphere. The restaurant is sure to become a benefit to Southfield and its surrounding neighbors. I am hopeful you will support and improve Golden Corral. Thank you for your consideration. Sincerely, Martin Manna, Executive Director. Around the corner, we have from Himashandu Patel at 29200 Southfield Road, Southfield Planning Department. I am writing this letter in support of the zoning request listed above. I work in Southfield close to the proposed site. I have always supported local businesses in Southfield and believe in their commitment to positive contributions to the city. In 2009, Restaurants and Institutions magazine ranked Golden Corral #1 in Consumers' Choice in cafeteria buffet chain. This is a brand new concept for the city of Southfield and the surrounding cities as well. We need to support local businesses who want to make the city of Southfield a destination for shopping and dining. I request the above zoning request be granted in support for more jobs, tax revenues, and investment in Southfield. Sincerely, Ismanu Patel, CPA. And I'll let the other people speak, and I'll come back to the letters if you wish.
Pardon me?
I'll come back and read the other letters
Oh,
to give other people a chance to make their comments.
still have a minute.
Well, thank you. I'll come back if that's all right.
Sorry. Give your name and address for the record. Yeah.
My name is Rose Allen. I'll give you the address of the restaurant, 29700 Big Boy. It's a family restaurant. Since we're here seeing facts and the truth, I'm gonna give you the facts and the truth. Okay. This restaurant's been there for 38 years. We already pay taxes to the city. We already hired more than 175 people. Give you a little bit background, because I'm from Michigan, but originally I'm a refugee, came from Lebanon, came here, worked hard. I was 14 years old, loved this country by choice, and when you love, it's a verb, it's an action, not just words. As Brenda knows, my mom and my family support the truth. And she even knows all about it, Brenda, and we don't go around bragging, telling anybody about it. We feed military guys that come into the restaurant on the weekends. So if you guys would like to come, you're welcome. And we do it for a cheaper price. So, and we pay franchise fee too on top of it, and taxes, okay? We donate one day out of the week that I take money and bake and send stuff to the troops in Iraq. You know, we have Marines. If I had enough time, I would have brought some units here. We have 8 units that we support, and each unit has 120 soldiers. I could have gotten letters from Afghanistan, Iraq, wherever you want. Besides that, we've been supporting the homeless in Detroit for 17 years. Matter of fact, we had a fundraiser last year. My job was there. We closed the restaurant. All the employees worked for free. My mom paid for the food. We raised $6,500. If I had enough time, I would have brought you a busload of those homeless people that we take the food to them twice a week. We've been doing this for 17 years. The reason why it's so important to me and close to me, the restaurant that we have, it is easy to bake and cook the food in there to feed the homeless and military and not make a dime whatsoever. So it's a very easy for us and access.
My family always supported the little people in everything. I'm not against Golden Corral, I'm for it, but not next door. And he's been working on this for 5 weeks. If I'd have known something, I would have had more letters for you, I would have had everything you need, but I didn't have any, nobody told me. The residents, they know about it, but we businesses, we pay taxes, how come we don't know? And we're competition? I don't understand it at all. And we support the churches, we support the military, we support the homeless. We're a family restaurant that knows all about us. You can go from the health department, you can go get any records you want. You can, my CEO of Big Boys was in my fundraiser, I got a personal letter. I didn't know nothing about this, I'll tell you exactly how I found out. There was a customer that had been coming into the restaurant for the last week, and every time he sat down, he would talk to somebody. One of my employees came up to me yesterday and said, listen, Rose, he's at it again. I'm like, what is he doing? He's talking to the customers again. I don't want to interrupt, I don't know what's going on. But what was he saying? Oh, I'm with Golden Corral, and guess what? We're going to come here and we're going to close Big Boy down. I can't wait. So, guess what? Then it got to my other employees. And then when that happened, what did my employees say to me? Say, Rose, we got to look for another job. Oh, wow. I don't get it. Hey, the truth and the fact, I have no problem with it. I will say it. But why didn't I have the opportunity to know about this? And Golden Corral, they can go anywhere in Southfield. Why does it have to be there? There's 30 restaurants. There's 10 restaurants in our plaza. We're all fighting for customers. We pay franchise fees, so it's even worse for us. All our employees, you have a copy of all our employees, you have a copy of all the restaurants that we have. They've been working with us minimum 15, 10 years. These employees go with me and volunteer for the homeless. I don't even pay for it. And as far as the fact, we've hired already enough people, more than 175 for all these years. We have paid taxes. He's promising you that. I already did pay that. So,
Very well. Just a couple of notes here before. First of all, in our management team, we will not accept that. We have not been in that restaurant and talked to employees. The second question is this. Our largest franchisee is a Frisch's Big Boy out of Cincinnati. Okay, you hear what I'm saying? Our largest franchisee is Frisch's out of Cincinnati. They have 38 Golden Corrals. They have built 7 Golden Corrals in Cincinnati. And they have, I don't know how many Frisch's there, probably 50. So our largest franchisee is Frisch's Big Boy. Now, we've not heard the Frisch's Big Boy chain out of Cincinnati. They have 38 Golden Corrals. We talk about the economy. This young lady hit it right. Economy's bad. Jobs are tough. People are short on money. This is where we are. We're a value-driven concept. We do well, just like Big Boy does, in the good times and the bad times, because our prices are set to make everyone want to eat out. But to hear the fact that we're going to hurt Big Boy, and that's who is talking here, look it up online. Our biggest franchisee is Frisch's Big Boy out of Cincinnati, 38 Golden Corrals. Okay? That's the facts. And the facts are that we would not, like I told you, I'm straight, I'm honest, I don't tell the wrong story. We're not going to go in a restaurant and say that we don't want to close anybody down. So those are my facts on the comments that were made prior about Frisch's, about the economy, about who we are and what we do. And we do have checks and balances in our restaurants. We talk about Flint. Things are going to happen. That was an old restaurant. We have a franchise service consultant that comes by and visits the current store every month. We have inspectors that come by every quarter of inspections. We hire Star Tech to do outside health inspections. Over and above.
Excuse me, Mr. President, this is a public hearing, and shouldn't his comments come after the public hearing is closed?
Well, you tried to respond, and I'm going to shut it down pretty quick. So
follow up.
But he is petitioner. Is there anyone else that'd like to speak? If you come to the microphone, your name and address, and you have 5 minutes.
Hi, my name is Diane C.C.A. Thompson. My address is 17041 Edwards Avenue, Southfield, 48076. I am a 17-year resident of the city of Southfield. And first, I'd like to at least give the council members some context about the neighborhood, Edwards Avenue. Edwards Avenue, I also moved there from Detroit. I enjoyed the large lots on Edwards Avenue. Everybody has an acre or more in that particular neighborhood. At the end of Edwards, it goes out into a one-way street that goes right behind the restaurant. People enjoy the tranquility, the quietness of the neighborhood. We have no sidewalks. We've had a growing traffic problem with the changing demographics of the neighborhood. When I moved to Edwards Avenue, pretty much all the original owners of the homes lived there when I moved there. So as you can imagine, most of those residents are either elderly, have died, or have moved at this point. So now we have a very mixed neighborhood, a neighborhood with young children that walk, the streets, and elderly residents. I know the businesses had mentioned before, where are your residents that you talk to? We have a petition for residents, over 44 petitions of residents who have signed petitions in opposition of this particular restaurant in this location. And again, I've talked with many of the residents who don't necessarily oppose the Golden Corral coming to Southfield to build the economic development to the city, but we feel that it's incompatible with this particular site. It conflicts with the interests of the residents of Edwards Avenue. When do we enjoy our property? I like the theme of facts. When do we enjoy our property? When people leave their stressful jobs, you come home in the evening, you want to relax on your deck and look out in the greenness of your backyard, 4 to 7, 4 to 9 o'clock at night. That's the height of his restaurant hours. He identified that as a zoning meeting, and I've attended all of those meetings but one. Those are the height of his restaurant hours, evening hours, 4 to 7, 4 to 9 p.m. That's when we like to enjoy our property, the tranquility and the quietness of animals running around and just enjoying your greenery, not the smells of food, the increased traffic flow. The traffic study that was done, I find that insulting. Not many people frequent restaurants from Monday through Wednesday. You frequent restaurants Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The traffic study was not done during those days. It was not done during the time of the academic year. We have a school that's less than a block away. That is a lot of traffic that feeds through Edwards Avenue. The traffic study wasn't done during that time. So there's a lot of issues associated with this restaurant coming in this particular location. We've enjoyed the tranquility of medical office buildings in that area. Unfortunate that the building burned down, but what's to the north? That owner there, he came to the zoning meeting. He said, I oppose a restaurant that butts right up to my building. Why? Because they're business hours, 8 to 5. You have people coming in for diagnostic tests. Pretty much after 5 o'clock, you don't see those people. The bank, same thing, business hours. It's a quiet setting that restaurant is incompatible with. They talked about tour buses. Tour buses bring lots of people. The success of that restaurant is predicated on going in complete contrast to the residents of Edwards Avenue in that particular neighborhood enjoying the tranquility and the continued tranquility and quietness of that particular neighborhood. It conflicts completely with why we bought our homes and why we want to continue living in that particular neighborhood. I think those are all the points I wanted to make. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think it's still good evening, isn't it? Or is it good morning? My name is Andrea. I'm one of the managers of the Big Boy. I've been there 33 years. now it's at 20. I've seen it as high when we were the only ones there, and like they said, there are 30 places between 13 miles and 11 miles to stop and eat. To add one more, it's too many. Like we said, we're not against Golden Corral. We're not against development in Southfield. I love Southfield. I lived in Southfield since 1962 until I lost my home in 2008. I would love to be back. I know what the economic value is now in Southfield. I was one of the ones that lost. To bring in another restaurant where there's already 30 places to eat is trying to take another piece of the pie. There's not that big a pie left. You have so many choices. That's just on one road. Like they said, we have Beverly Hills Cafe, which is the other side of 13 miles. There's McDonald's over there. Then you go on up. You've got Kentucky Fried. You've got Ponderosa. You've got Berkeley. There's so many in that one area. And to have 31 on Southfield Road alone, it's too much. And that's not counting what's on the other side of 696. That's not south of 11 miles. That's north of 11 miles to south of 13. There's 30 of us. So I hope you consider that, yes, the Golden Corral would be nice in Southfield. It would bring, economic growth in Southfield, but not on Southfield Road. The traffic at 4 o'clock, 4:15, 4:30, I'm telling you, to even make a left-hand or right-hand turn to get on to 696 takes you 45 minutes. It takes you 20 minutes to go from our mall to 12 miles. To add more, it's just unfathomable. So have a good day, and I have to go open, so I'll see you guys.
Can I ask you a question? You said that there were 30 restaurants, which I don't.
Yes,
Just
there are.
restaurants. One of the restaurants that you quoted, or you named, was Ponderosa. I thought that was on Greenfield.
No, I said besides the 30 that are just on Southfield Road, there's 30 places to eat on Southfield Road, 10 in the Southfield Plaza.
Okay, but Ponderosa is on Greenfield. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just saying that's more common.
I've been driving up down.
Oh, no.
Yeah, okay.
Like I said, we've got Berkeley, we've got,
Okay.
Berkeley Hill, thank you.
Hi, my name is Billy Parrish. My address is 17550 Edwards Avenue. And I've got several comments, but before I make them, I'd like to say that there were a number of residents who came out to give their opposition to the construction of Golden Corral. There were about at least 15 or 16. Right now, I would like for the ones that are still here to stand, because some of them might not want to talk. But it's with me. I got Chris, I got Diane, I got those folks back here. Of course, you saw Diane here. I got Maze back here. Those are folks from both Edwards Avenue as well as the ones that left, by the way. So I hope this is not part of my time, but I want to just show you that because of the lateness, I had one lady that got sick back there, and her husband had to take her home. He said he might have to take her to the hospital. I had a couple where they had to go home because they're small kids. I had folks who had to go because they worked midnight. So I'm sorry, I've lost much of the response. So I've got to try to be the voice for those folks. Now, earlier you heard Diane say that there were 44 folks who signed a petition. Did you guys of the council get these petitions? So there were 44 residents, and these are the ones that.
When did it come in?
It was given to the planning commission on July the 20th. And they said they would have it, I talked to Terry Crowe, he said he would have it to you guys for this meeting.
Apparently, we got it today, because nobody's seen it, so go ahead.
All right. And so, there were 44 folks and more who wanted to sign, but I had turned it in back in July. Okay? All along that strip between Southfield Road and Pierce, every neighbor I talk to is opposed to the construction of Golden Corral. Both the ones on Latham between 12 and Bedford Woods, and again Southfield Road and Pierce. I didn't talk to anybody beyond this. Okay? Now, I heard mentioned about the number of restaurants. There are 20 restaurants between 11 and 12 miles long. Sure, there are 30 all along or more along that strip, but between 11 and 12 miles long, there are 20 restaurant type businesses. Actually, 21, soon to be 22, you know, with McDonald's, I think. So, we're saturated. But there are other things. I heard mention about the zoning for the area across from Edwards, where it's B1 and B2. And so we should approve a B2 for the corner of Edwards and Southfield. There's a major difference between those zone B1 and B2 on the west side of Southfield and the east side of Southfield, and that is Edwards Street, a residential street that comes through there. There are no residential streets where those other B1 and B2s are. So we have a residential street, and it is a feeder street where people drive through coming from Greenfield through to Southfield Road. At one time, Edwards was closed off just east of the Core American Bank. And then it was reopened, that was back in the 80s. It was reopened. The person could tell you more about that had to leave. It was reopened because there was some concern about emergency vehicle access to get to the schools and everything else. But why was it closed in the 80s? It was closed because of the heavy volume of traffic along that street, and the neighbors were very concerned. Now, I suspect that in the 80s, most households had one car. In 2011, most households have 4 cars. So the traffic study that was done does not accurately reflect what is happening in that neighborhood. It was done during the time when the schools closed, the business was closed, and as Diane said, not during the weekend, and when more people were on vacation, because August is the time when everybody goes away. So it's not accurate for that reason. It was compared to, as I understand from the meeting, a study done in 2001. The problem with that is that 2001, that study was done when Vandenberg was open and when Harvard Plaza was in its full occupancy and there was plenty of traffic. So to say from the survey that Edwards can pick up and handle the additional volume because the volume of traffic has decreased since 2001 is inaccurate. So that study was flawed. So what we have here is a situation where I think that Golden Corral would be a great financial asset to the city of Southfield. And there are other locations in Southfield where it could go. There's a spot right across the street here, if I'm pointing towards Evergreen, corner of Evergreen and Civic Center Drive, just north. Big plot of open land that could be used for that. And it's already, I suspect, zoned because there are already businesses all along that area. And oh, by the way, where this restaurant would go, and I know that the folks have said that they're going to control the odor and control the rodents, but the flow for air is northeast, probably 80 to 90% of the time. So it flows right through the residential area. One of the ladies that was here and had to leave has a daycare that she does and has lots of small kids that play in the backyard. That's going to affect them because there's no way you can knock out all that odor.
Okay,
But
I've given you more than your 5 minutes.
I'm doing more than 5 minutes?
I've given you more than your 5 minutes because you were introducing other people and all that, so.
Okay,
But you're,
how much
you
more
don't
do I
have your 5 minutes.
So
You're done.
I'm done.
But you'll have another opportunity because we're having another public hearing.
All right. I did want to say one thing before I go. Can I? Regarding every other Golden Corral that I've looked at is far away from residential areas, at least 600 feet or more. Big buffer zone.
Yes.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Kimberly Lipke. I live at 184 Ponderosa Trail South, Belleville, Michigan, 41111. I work at Golden Corral. I've been there for about 6 years. I've just been hearing a lot of bad news, about not wanting it there or whatever. I feel that it would be a benefit for them, the job opportunities. This is my second income. My husband's retired from GM. It's helped me purchase my home, my cars. I've gotten opportunities to learn different things in my job. I'm a server right now. I work as a baker on part-time, and I just feel like
I really do. That's really all I have to say. I'm getting tired, I just want to go home. But I wanted to make sure you guys know it's a positive thing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I'm Tom Jones. I live in Detroit, on 035 Stanton Mayoral. And I'm a customer, so I am. I tell you, I go there, my wife and I, we go there 2 or 3 times a week, Northland, or Westland. And I think it'd be a great asset to have a Golden Corral closer. You know, and I thought Southfield was a good place for me. And one reason I drive about 45 miles there and back, about 3 or 4 times a week. And I'll tell you why. There's no place, all your restaurants you're talking about here and there, there's no place in the world my wife and I can eat as cheap as we do. Any day. And there's nice food. I mean, good food, clean, and tasty, and variety. You just can't get it no place else. So Golden Corral would be a great asset to anyone. I'll tell you something else. I do a lot of traveling too. And I always look for a Golden Corral because I know their food is good. And every place you go, their food is good and tasty, and you have all varieties, whatever you want, they have it for you. So that's why I'm talking here today for you. And I own an apartment building. Well, in relation to people, I'm just telling you this. I own an apartment building, and I also have a pastor church. And I know a lot of people who would like to see Golden Corral in Southfield. So that's why I'm here. And I go to Westland. That's the best, cleanest place there is to eat. I've eaten all the restaurants. I know about the different restaurants. I know about the prices and everything. That is the best place to eat. So if you find time, go to Golden Corral.
It's going to be right in the very time that most of our residents are going to want to do it. The previous building there was office, 9 to 5, which is probably pretty compatible with the hours of the other residents in this area. Where leisure time is in the evening. That's when I'm going to walk up and down the streets. That's when I'm going to be out and about. I believe this seriously impacts it. Plus, the other thing we're talking about, that one-way street is rather acute. Traffic study showed that several people tended to go down that street the wrong way. And I see it all the time for those about the first house off the corner at Lathrop and Edwards. They run the sign, there's no stop sign. There's stop signs for Lathrop, there's stop signs for Edwards. But since you're going to the road, there's no stop sign going west on Edwards, or east on Edwards, that through the wrong way. And those people come through there because they don't want to get caught coming through. You wouldn't believe the speed they come through there. So now here I am competing with those people. There's going to be more people like that I'm going to have to compete with this. I don't have any sidewalks to even run down and get away from. I got to walk down the street and die. They come through there. And but also the other point, as I like the first year precedents that we have there. This is going to drive them out of business. There's no doubt in my mind. It's very clear. In fact, I believe the man from the Department of Real Estate made that very point. He sells the letters to you guys from the various businesses around there, the bank, I don't know, two of the others. What did he say? My employees are going to go with the Golden Restaurant, Golden Corral and eat for lunch. Where were they going before? Maybe they just didn't eat much before, and now the Golden Corral will be hungry. So it's one of the other businesses that's going to suffer, along with the residents. Some are going to be a lot more impacted than I am, but
yeah. And Golden Corral, you heard of, Old Country Buffet? Golden Corral was upscale.
Hello, my name is Lance Riedel, I come from Taylor, Michigan, 15309 Wynn. I have here a couple letters from employees that couldn't make it, they were either working or had to study for school. My name is Catherine, and I have been and still am an employee at the Golden Corral in West Michigan for 3.5 years. I'm a waitress, so that means I meet different types of people every day. I always have customers ask me if they are ever going to build a Golden Corral near them, because it's a long trip. But until then, still continue to make the drive here because they love the atmosphere, and most importantly, the food. I believe being Golden Corral to the city of Southfield would not only give numerous jobs to the unemployed, but would bring a lot of money to the city. I'm a manager, and I take great pride in employing people. When the auto company shut down, I had auto workers come to me for jobs, taking just a portion of the pay that they were making just to put money on the table. We employ people that aren't necessarily educated. We employ people that can't get the high-paying jobs. Traffic flow, I don't know much about it. All I can say is I know not everybody comes in at one time. Not everybody leaves at one time. It's, a progressional thing. Noise, it's a restaurant. We don't have bands, what's the other one? Smells, I don't know, I smell food, it smells good. But, that's all I got. Thank you.
We are one of your neighbors in Warren, Michigan. In the last month alone, we went to Golden Corral 28 times. However, the closest one to us is 32 miles, Westland is 70 miles, and our Fort Branch one is 120 miles round trip. If anybody wants to see this, they're welcome to the 28 times we went to the Golden Corral. It's such a wonderful place. It's unbelievable. It's clean, it's a wonderful. And really senior citizens really enjoy it. And it's a very reasonable for senior citizens. Senior citizens is $7, and dinner price is around $10, and get all the steaks you want, all the hand-dipped ice cream, and everything they can. It's a wonderful place to have it in Southfield, Michigan, and we could bicycle over it.
Thank you.
Can you say your name for the record?
Yes, my name is Alvin Smith, and we're your neighbors from Warren.
You won't hear me without the microphone?
Sure.
Well, let me raise the microphone now.
Yeah, you can bend it down so that the people at home, if they're still awake,
Can you all hear me now?
Sure.
My name is Chris Ruzin. I live at 17011 Edwards, here in Southfield. I'm not opposed to new restaurants coming into the city of Southfield. However, as you all can see, that I'm in a wheelchair. At my home, I have a power wheelchair that I use when I'm home alone during the day when my wife is at work, who is behind me, her name is Diana. As it was also mentioned on Edwards, from Vandenberg School west all the way to Lake Road, there are no sidewalks whatsoever on that portion of the street. Every morning, starting on 7:30 and throughout the day till late afternoon, there's various times when the traffic is high and low, and there's people that even pass on a residential street. I do not feel safe as a resident
going out on the street that I love to live on with my wife, for the fear of someone not paying attention, that there's someone in a wheelchair on the street as a pedestrian. And I just don't feel safe. And there's other areas in the near vicinity, around in the shopping center, around where Big Boys is. There's a big open vacant piece of land, as an example, right outside the door of Marshall's department store that could still be developed. There's also a piece of property that on 12 Mile, just west of Telegraph, that used to be a car dealership that is vacant, as well as near 12 Mile and Evergreen, that used to be the Mr. B's restaurant. They could also be considered for this location in addition. Thank you.
My name is Diana Rosen. I live at 17011 Edwards in Southfield, and I just wanted to make a couple of quick comments. I appreciate Golden Corral wanting to come to Southfield. I'm not against economic development at all in Southfield. We have lived here for 3 years, and we thoroughly enjoyed the city, and we're glad that we came here. I was laid off and been out of work for 2 years before I fortunately was blessed to get a job just 2 months ago. And I can totally appreciate them saying that they're bringing 175 jobs. That's wonderful. I'm all for that. But put it somewhere else. It's too close to the residential area. I'm afraid that there's going to be trash. There's going to be smells. There's going to be problems. Years ago, I lived behind an Olive Garden, and there was all kinds of odors every day during the operations there. And also a friend of ours lives near the Golden Corral in Clinton Township, and they have a big buffer between the residential and the restaurant. And he said that there has been a lot of trash flowing through the neighborhood. There has been a lot of traffic. They've even encountered a few fights in the parking lot, and that's up in Clinton Township on Hall Road. So please consider that we're not against it, we're just against it where we live at. And there's plenty of land elsewhere in Southfield where it could go. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Matthew Seeley. I work at 29580 Northwestern Highway. I work with Ludwig and Seeley. I'm here on behalf of a client of mine, Keith Butler, the manager of Butler Properties, owns a property just 2 parcels north of the subject property. He wrote a letter to Mr. Grote. Mr. Grote, I'm writing you on, as a nearby business owner, Butler Properties, to support the requested rezoning and special use at 29350 Southfield Road. I believe that in these economic times, we should be grateful when a developer wants to redevelop and improve commercial real estate. This benefits the city as to not having vacant, non-income producing land. In addition, the surrounding businesses are better off and will retain their value when the area is fully occupied. I would think that the use of this site as a restaurant would be well received by these businesses, as restaurants do attract additional potential customers that might otherwise not come to the area. These are challenging times for all of us, and I think
Corral can provide that to the community as well. The HID that I work for donates many things in our community. Every year we have a company-wide collection for the Children's Miracle Network, and it generates thousands of dollars every year for that charity alone. I believe Golden Corral is an asset in any community, and I'm sure it will be for yours as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Finish up real quick. Dan Lugerman, again, actually my address is on Grand River in Farmington, but prior to that, I actually worked for a guy, you ever heard of Scott Griffin? So I got started in business working for Scott across the street, so when this came up, I was very familiar with the area. So, I have a little connection. So anyway, a couple more letters from people who were here. Ruthie Johnson, President of Providence Tower Condominium Association, and Catherine Haynes, the committee chairperson. We want to see the Golden Corral built on Southfield Road. Ruthie, the president of the HOA, she had to leave. We have a letter from Eddie Fumiya from Park Place Wine Shop. I was recently informed of interest in the Golden Corral restaurant to locate here in Southfield. I feel it's an excellent opportunity to add family-friendly business to provide accessible and affordable dining options in the Southfield area. It's getting late. I'm going to give you guys just the highlights of it. We had another one from Jason Najer over at the 12 Mile Road Recency Manor for his support. Arlene Schernick from 12 Mile Road request for rezoning. We're supporting the rezoning of the parcel of land where the office building burned down on Southfield Road north of Edwards. Erica Iraqi, I'm writing this letter of support. I don't live in Southfield, but I frequent the area several times a month to dine and shop with my friends and colleagues who work in the area. I support local businesses, and I believe the Golden Corral will have a positive impact. And my last comment is just, if I can respond to, people have a lot of suggestions for places to put it, and I've worked over 2 years to find the appropriate location, and many of the locations that were suggested, we considered, and we wrote proposals to actually some of those owners, and we're not able to reach that agreement. So this location was a result of exhaustive effort in a thorough professional manner, and this was really the only best viable good location we were able to work with. So I'm just going to share with you that little bit of background. And for the minute, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm James Remar. I reside in, it's been so long I forgot my address. 3326 East Charmwood Drive, Port Huron, Michigan. I originally grew up and worked in the Ohio market. In fact, I worked for the Precious Big Boy Group prior to coming with Corinne Patel. I've been with Golden Corral now for 10 years. I'm the general manager over at Fort Gratiot, and I brought a whole file full of letters that we know you don't want me to read. I can honestly tell you, I've built 8, this would be, if this one happens, the 8th one that I've helped open up. And I have never in all my years heard anybody say anything negative about Golden Corral after we're there. They are all welcome, and we are happy to be into their neighborhoods. We spend an awful lot of time getting involved in the communities. You've already heard about the Children's Miracle Network. We also do military appreciation. I'm a veteran myself, and I participate in all the veterans organizations in our community to help promote the community environment there. I understand that there's concerns about possible odors coming out of the restaurant. I can honestly tell you, it does not really happen. We have an indoor dumpster system. It's not outside. There's nothing outside the building. We never take any trash out of the building. It's all contained in an indoor dumpster system and removed and a clean one brought in. So the concerns over odor are kind of senseless. And I just wish you would deeply consider making the move. Again, like I said, I can't emphasize enough how much I love Golden Corral. And I've been with them a long time. I've now been with Corinne for the last 4.5 years. And obviously, as we stated earlier, he's not an overnight kind of guy. He is here to stay, and does get involved in the community, and I think you'd really, really have an asset to Southfield. And that's it.
Thank you.
Prakash Patel. I work at 16155 West 12 Mile Road in Southfield, right there by 12 and Greenfield.
Your name again, please?
Sorry, Prakash Patel, P-R-A-K-A-S-H. Okay, thank you. I actually work at a collection law firm, so I hear about the economy all the time. I hear lots of bad things. People lost their jobs, they can't pay anything. So I think it's wonderful that, Golden Corral is coming in the community and bringing 175 jobs to this area. I'm actually Garrett's brother, and I was with Jim when we opened up the Fort Gratiot location. And that area was also affected by lots of loss of jobs because of the economy. I remember going for about a month and a half, 2 months, before that location opened up, reviewing literally hundreds and hundreds of applications. If I didn't review over 1,000, I think I was just missing everything. Going early morning, coming back late at night. We hired, I want to say about 150, 200 people right off the bat. It was just, phenomenal, just the response that we got in the applications. I mean, we didn't even have a mailbox set up, and people were just, while we were just visiting the site while it was getting built, they were just coming up to us and giving us the applications. It was phenomenal. Like the previous presenters have said, they're investing $4.5 million to $5 million into the city of Southfield, creating $1.5 million worth of wages per year, times that by 7.5 million over a 5-year period. It's just, this is a land of democracy. I mean, the opportunity to create a new business, and that's what we're here for. And that's what my brother's asking for. That's what the new restaurant is asking for. There may be 30 locations. Like I said, I work in Southfield. Work a mile down. There may be 30 restaurants, but they're not. Most of them are fast food joints. And we jokingly at my office, we jokingly say in the morning when we walk in, what's for lunch? Because it really takes that long to decide what we want, because we really don't know what we want. They're fast food restaurants. We want to go sit inside one sometimes. We want to have just something, something different. And the concept of Golden Corral is really new to this area. There's one in Westside, one in Fort Gratiot. The Clinton Township one opened up a few years ago, I believe. But besides that, there's nothing like that in this area, and I think it'd be a great establishment for the city of Southfield. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. Hi. I'm Dave Duncar, 7421 Wilderness Park, Wasteland, Michigan. I represent the Golden Corral Wasteland branch. I'm a manager over there. I've been with the company for almost about 6 years now, and I manage almost about 175 co-workers. And this idea of bringing Golden Corral to Southfield, I think is a very good idea. There's a lot of folks out there looking for a job where they cannot even get a job. So,
could you move your hand for there? You're creating a static, so people can't hear over it. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. There's a lot of folks out there looking for a job, they cannot even get a job. So I think this idea of bringing Golden Corral to Southfield is a very good idea. Because that's going to help create almost about 175 jobs. And what we need right now, what the economy needs right now is just to put people back to work. So I think this idea of bringing Golden Corral to the Western is a very good idea. That's what I have to say.
Thank you.
My name is Siddharth Babar. I'm actually a resident of Detroit. I'm an industrial engineer with the affiliate of GF. And I'm another consumer of Golden Corral. I often go to Westland to go to the Golden Corral over there. And this would be a great restaurant for Southfield. I'm going to keep on the short side. I don't think it's gonna take me 5 minutes, just a couple of points. I know 44 residents seem to have signed this petition, but I'd just like to remind the council they actually represent 200,000 people, above 200,000 people of Southfield. And the Golden Corral will serve all those people. And it was really sad to hear, there was a lady who spoke who said she lost her house in 2008 because she didn't have a job. Or she had a job, but she couldn't afford it. There's people like that. It seems like there's people saying, oh, there's going to be order, there's problems, this, that. These are minor problems compared to people who can't find jobs. Coming from the city of Detroit, I know that's a real issue, and I know it is so for Southfield as well. And also, another point that was raised seems counterintuitive. Someone said, oh, the quality is not that high, and these restaurants are not doing it how they should be. And on the other end, someone's saying, oh, they're going to be so powerful, we're not going to be able to get business. So which one is it? Are they going to be so effective that other businesses are going to shut down, or the quality is so low that they won't be able to survive? And at the end of the day, the consumer should have the choice of what restaurant they want to go to. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good evening. My name is Amelia Todd. I live at 17545 Edwards, Southfield, Michigan. And I lived there for 32 years. I lived there when the street, Edwards, was blocked. And if there was an emergency truck or fire department, they couldn't come down. But they blocked it because the traffic was so heavy. And that's what I'm worried about now. Only 3 houses there, and it's a one-way street. And you think people are going to listen to it? There's no left-hand turn. Never. Thank you. But I do love the Golden Corral.
I realize that this is primarily a discussion about rezoning, but it's turned into a pretty impassioned plea from the residents about the traffic and how the traffic would impact that particular area. We have, at the city's request, hired a traffic engineer, and they have a report, if you would like to hear it, the results of which are primarily there's a negligible impact on that area. Looking at the area, you'll see the streets are there primarily for the residents. I don't think that you could imagine that there are going to be people driving through the area to go to the Golden Corral when they can use Southfield, they can use 12 Mile, 13 Mile. I travel that just as you all do. I've never had to wait 45 minutes at a light. For any further discussion on the traffic impact that Golden Corral might have, we have the traffic engineer here who can discuss it with you.
Thank you. Council, do you want to hear it? Okay. We're going to pass on it.
Hi, my name is Kathy Johnson. I work at the Golden Corral in Westland. And I've been there 8 years. And I've been parking my car. I'm the server. We park our cars next to the dumpster at Golden Corral, and there's not an odor. If there was, I'd say there was. There isn't. There was 4 or 5 of us that parked there. We've been parking there for 8 years. As hot as this summer was, never was there an odor coming out of there. And I've been there, like I said, 8 years. And as far as the noise, there's no noise in the parking lot. You don't have people fighting. It's a family restaurant. We held up with people's babies. They call us grandma. It's not a loud and crowded restaurant. It's a family restaurant. And it would be an asset to Southfield. It really would. I've been there 8 years and I love it. I'd stay there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Alan Curtis. I live at 3545 Pheasant Lane, West big boys, and I couldn't pay my bills. I couldn't sustain myself, so after about 2 or 3 months of that, I got the job at the Golden Corral, and I haven't looked back since. Initially, when I came to Michigan, I was a rehabilitation counselor in Florida. Up here, it's Michigan Rehab. They didn't have any jobs. They didn't have money for the people that they serve. I wanted to hire someone. So when I did get this job, like I said, I've been able to support myself. And I have a couple letters here. One's from Catherine Hamer. She's president of the AARP in Southfield chapter 3483, and she said she'd love to have a Golden Corral in Southfield. My husband and I travel quite a ways to eat at the Golden Corral. We're there quite often, twice a week. Everyone I speak with agrees with me. Alan's a great server, so much for that. Welcome to Southfield, she said, and her husband also signed this, Roosevelt. I also have another letter here, and these are just a few of many, but this is from, this is from Carol Gaza. She's from Livonia, and she says in reference to building Golden Corral 12 miles Southfield, she says the Golden Corral would be a great asset to the city of Southfield. As creating more jobs, I frequently attend the Golden Corral in Westland, have great food. Business is kept very clean and neat. There's never any garbage around the grounds or the parking lot. I support the building of the new Golden Corral Southfield. And I'd just like to say that, if someone's coming to offer to build and introduce millions of dollars into Southfield's economy, why not? Thank you.
Now, I hope that no one thinks that I'm trying to cut this off, because everyone that wants to speak can speak. But if we've heard pretty much the whole story, if someone has something new to say, you can come to the microphone, or if you just have something old to say, you can come to the microphone. I don't want to cut anybody off, but it is getting pretty early in the morning.
Are we going to have discussion of the second motion? Or
Absolutely, we're going to go through this all again.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Julie West, and I live at 32128 Palmer Road in Northland, Michigan. And I'm just going to say that I worked there for 9 months. I first worked at a Culver's that was actually next in the same parking lot, and I worked there for almost 4 years. They didn't give me any hours. I worked like the most 3 hours a day, and then when I go to Golden Corral, I'm getting like almost full time. The food is great. It's great for the families, like you said. I get a call almost every day asking to make reservations for a banquet room, because people always want to throw either an anniversary party or a bridal shower. Graduation season is always really busy. And the main point though I want to make is that being in Southfield, I get a call almost every day from someone asking that lives in Southfield or Detroit, or I've even had people call from Canada wondering where we're located because they don't have one near them. So it'll be a lot better for them to not have to use all their gas to come all the way out to Westland. They don't have to, gas is so high these days, it's dropping a little bit, but not that much. And all the jobs that are created, it would just be a lot better for them, because we get so much business anyway, so it's like, well, we would still be fine, but they need a restaurant out here. And I have just a quick letter from a Brian L. Jackson who lives in Southfield, and he was with us, and he said, as a resident of Southfield and employee of Golden Corral, I think the Golden Corral would be nice in the city. It will bring revenue, add diversity, bring people to the other businesses that are on the restaurant. With the low crime and the great police force in the city, the business that would bring to our restaurant would be nothing but a safe environment for our employees and most of all of our customers. Furthermore, I'd like to see something new in our city and make the city grow. Thank you.
Thank you.
cannot put my kids to go drive a bike or anything like that. I can't be, say, my kid's gonna be safe on the street to drive a bike. It's gonna be too much traffic and Mr. President, we need to take a number for taxes and everything. We understand all that, but you don't understand. We got the city of Southfield, 5 square miles. You can find it in another location. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm Diane Deal. I live at 17355 Edwards Avenue. I think we can all vote on one thing. Golden Corral is an excellent restaurant, is it not? Okay. Now, I think we could find a better location for it. It's definitely going to affect the flow of traffic. It was zoned for office buildings for a reason. It's definitely going to affect Big Boy. It's definitely going to affect me. But I can see from Circle Drive, I can see what's going on. Okay? Big fish, little fish. I sat here all night. Big fish, little fish. I know exactly what the outcome is going to come, and boy, am I going to start paying attention to my politicians. Thank you.
My name is David Robinson. My address is 36174 Dominion Circle, Sterling Heights, Michigan. And I am a 51-year Michigan resident, and I've been a restaurant manager for 34 years. I've worked for Golden Corral now for 3 years. And I'll bring a little bit of different perspective to what Golden Corral brings to the restaurant business. The training that they send us managers through is very intense. You know, and I've heard some talk about the way Golden Corral may have been back in the day. It's not like that anymore. It took me 1 year to be certified as a manager. And that's how long it takes between the time that they train us here, the time that they send us off to North Carolina, the time we come back, the testing, the inspecting. It's very intense. And it really does help bring the quality of our restaurant to the guests every day. You've heard a lot of our guests say how great things are, and this is true. How clean things are. This is true. We do not have trash floating around our parking lot. The insides of our restaurants are clean. The dumpsters are enclosed. Somebody before said that everything is enclosed. It is in-house. It's the first restaurant I've ever worked at. It's been like that. Employees do not have to go outside to take trash out. Everything is inside. You know, there's no smell from it. So I can assure the residents here that this is not a problem. And I can also put a face to it, that if there ever is any type of an issue, that they can come talk to me. Now, as far as Kirk Patel, the owner, he is a very hands-on owner. He is a certified manager. He went through training just like what I went through. He knows how to run this restaurant, and day to day, he does come into the restaurant. And he runs it. He is very involved. He's not somebody that's going to be going away because he knows how to run this place and he knows how to make it work. You know, and we've heard a lot of people talk about jobs. I don't believe that we are coming in to put other places out of business. We will enhance other businesses. We are a destination, and this is true, that people they will come to us, they will see some of the other businesses, and we will bring money into Southfield. Just one other little point about the military work that Golden Corral does. 1 day a year, Golden Corral allows anybody that's ever served in the military to eat free. It's right around Veterans Day, and it's a really big day. I've done it for 3 times now, and it's definitely the best I've ever, the most fun I've ever had in a restaurant in a day, when you're able to give away 1,500 or 1,600 free meals with all the people having fun, coming in. It's a great time. I just really think that it would be very good for this city, and I'm somebody who knows what good restaurants are, and it's a high-quality restaurant. It is not, your typical average buffet that you want to think of. It is very high quality. And the food that comes in the back door, to all the personnel that works for us, and to the guests that come. Thank you. Thank you.
about the federal government, the state government giving all this grants and helping businesses to grow and make new businesses. And Michigan is behind that. They have a website that you can open up the corporation within 1 day. You pay them $100, they can do it in 2 hours, so on. So we are trying to encourage the new businesses. Not only just businesses, here I'm talking about the successful business. Federal government recently gave some money to this alternative energy company that they are making the sun panels, and they spent billions of dollars to support this business, and they went, they had to file bankruptcy because they could not compete against the made in China products. Here we are talking about the success story, the successful business. Kirit already owns 2 businesses. He has experience of running businesses and successful business. That's why we are attempting to create a new business that will be successful. They have done their due diligence. They are investing millions of dollars here. So he has done all his research in other locations. Most of the opponents are saying that they all want the business. They are okay with Golden Corral. They don't want on their streets. They have done all their research. Now they want to invest into this economy. We are talking about, again, successful business. It is from a different perspective. All the tranquility and the peaceful and all that atmosphere, we have talked about it. But it is a successful business, and I think we, as a taxpayer, should support such a successful businesses in our community. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Marie Veeder, the 17071 Edwards, which is between Lathrop and Pierce. And I would just like to echo people's concerns about the traffic. The traffic signs on Edwards are mainly treated as suggestions. People really don't stop at the stop sign, and it says 25 miles an hour, but it comes through sometimes up to 60 miles an hour. And I heard the gentleman say that they would be using Edwards to go to the restaurant. Well, I kind of have proof that that would be true, because people go over to Wendy's and they grab their lunch and then they swing through Edwards. And the reason I know that is because about my properties where they're finished with their meal and they chuck it out the window on my property. So I know that, they're going to be using the streets for the restaurant. And if you haven't been to that area, people walk in the evenings. There's a lot of children, and they're walking to the park over there on Lathrop, and then they walk down to the pool, Vandenberg, to play ball and stuff like that. So there's a lot of kids walking on that street. And since I've only lived there about 10 years, that there's been one fatality since I've lived there at Pierce and Lathrop, Pierce and Edwards. And there's been numerous severe accidents. And I'm very concerned about the traffic. And in addition, there's a lot of bicyclists that come through there. On Map My Ride, people have posted rides for bicycle groups to come up through, across 12 Mile through Pierce, and they ride there and then they swing around Edwards. And unfortunately, it's in the evening, right when the people would be going to the restaurant. And I've seen one bicyclist get hit by someone who wasn't paying attention on the street. So I'm very concerned about the traffic issues. If you could shut off the traffic to Southfield, then maybe I'd be a little more amenable to it. Thank you.
Thank you. Have you spoken once already on this? Okay.
Thank you, Chris. My name is Sharon Schmidt, I'm from Township. As I listen to both sides here, I begin to question, and maybe I'll use an analogy. We, like gas stations, you can have 3 on the corner, you can have a lot there, and then I'm wondering if traffic wants to come in. When you're a restaurant and you work during the day, you have an hour off for lunch and you want to go to that place. I haven't eaten there yet, but I'm curious, and I think I'm going to try the restaurant in Hall Road in Quincy, where I live, just to check it out and see how the food is. I'm a fair person here. What I'm interested in is seeing both sides come up with a plan. If the restaurant cannot get
do really good. And traffic accidents happen because the restaurant comes in, if people are in a hurry because we only have so much time, it's like the expressway, we're riding on it, and there's certain times of the time for the expressway you shouldn't be on if you want to get tied up, so you can take the long way or the short way. It's all about choice, and sometimes we have accidents that happen. So maybe Southfield can figure out a way to make it so that traffic or the design works out better, because I feel it's a freedom of choice to eat where you want. If you get good service and you like the food, you're going to go where it's at. That's what I think.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wants to speak on this issue? And in case anybody's forgotten, we're talking about the rezoning request. Could you give your name and address for this?
Good afternoon. My name is Catherine Hamer, and I'm a Southfield resident, 15801 Providence Drive. My husband and I have dined at this restaurant for quite some time, even though we have to drive quite a ways to savor their food. The food is good. The restaurant is clean. They have reduced prices after a certain time of the day, and they also have reduced prices for seniors. So now I really go for that. Being the president of the AARP Southfield chapter, a lot of the residents go out there. So I personally would welcome this restaurant into Southfield. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wants to speak on this issue? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing. Council? Ms. Seymour?
This is the first time since I've been in this city that I have ever seen a petitioner come in with their own cheering squad. That took a lot of work to round up all these people from all these communities to come here and tell us what we, excuse me, what we need in our city. I mean, that's a lot of work. I think it's quite remarkable. Excuse me, I'm really having trouble here. I spent a couple of hours on Sunday visiting the area on Edwards, watching the traffic. I should have brought my front lozenges anyway, and then what to put it. Watching the traffic, no. Thank you. Watching the traffic, I really wanted to see, hearing from the residents, how this would impact them and what they were talking about. And it totally changed my perception of what it could be and what it was. I saw the traffic coming through on Edwards. I drove on Edwards from Greenfield all the way over to Southfield Road. People do speed through there. There's no question that they do. They don't adhere to the speed limit. There's plenty of traffic, and it will be a cut through. It will be a cut through street. People don't like to drive. People who live in Southfield don't like to drive on 12-mile roads. So if they can cut through an Edwards, they will. There's no question about it. I think there's no question in my mind, having spent a couple of hours in the neighborhood, that the noise from the restaurant, from the parking lot, this was on Sunday, when you expect it to be the quiet time. And they're talking about soccer teams coming in, they're talking about busloads, tour buses, and busloads of people coming in on Sunday night when you want peace in your neighborhood, on the evenings when you want peace in your neighborhood. You're not going to have peace in your neighborhood. You're not. It's going to change the way of life for that people. And I will tell you this, anyone that has a house next to a restaurant like this, the value of their property is going to be reduced by at least 25%. Any realtor will tell you that. And the people that live right next to the first house, Mr. Parrish, I believe, his house, he won't be able to sell his house. And people in that immediate area are going to have real problems with the value of their house going down. That's not fantasy, that's true. I'm really, let me go back to the site, can I talk about the site plan committee? Sure. I guess I can. I'm chairman of the site plan committee. Last Monday, we had a site plan committee on this site, before the study meeting, in which we had a bigger presentation. They talked about the traffic study, they talked about all of the benefits. We spoke about the traffic study and the traffic on Southfield Road, and we were, generally speaking, the site plan committee, which is 3 people, had a lot of problems with traffic issues. I probably had the most problems because I said, I live in the area, I know what Southfield Road is like, I drive it, I'm in all those places on a regular basis, and really, they were quite unhappy with my comments about the traffic. They didn't agree at all. So when they came shortly thereafter to the following meeting, which was our study meeting, it was hard sell, and that's what I've heard tonight. I've never heard such hard sell. We all know what soft sell is. I've never heard a presentation of hard sell as I've heard tonight. It sounds to me like Golden Corral is going to save Southfield from itself. It's going to solve our problems. They're going to have all these jobs. They're going to pay all these taxes. I mean, really, folks, if we turn it down, Southfield's going to go down too. Now, I don't have any reason to object to the restaurant. I haven't heard anything bad about it. I have, however, on the internet, read stories about citations they've received in other communities. They're very popular in probably the largest area of restaurants is in Texas. Then Alabama, North Carolina, Florida is very big with all the senior citizens. But I've read, and if this information is current, I believe it is, that quite a few restaurants in more of the northern and northeast places, I think Ohio, Indiana, I don't have the state right, but quite a few of them have gone out of business. And they closed the restaurants because they were losing so much business. So it's not a raving success in every community, and there's got to be a reason for it. My concern about the people that live in the whole Edwards area, in that whole, I don't know the name of the community, of the homeowners, what is it? Bedfordville. The quality of life for these people, and those of you that are still here, I think for us on the council and for people that have to make these decisions, I really think that's more important than anything. And if your quality of life is diminished because of decisions we make, then we're not doing our job. I disagree that we need this restaurant in Southfield, but I don't have any objection to it being in Southfield if it would be in the proper location. I think the suggestion of it being at Northland, maybe you need to renegotiate. I can't believe that they wouldn't welcome it. That's the area that could use some revitalization. Right. But here's the thing. This location on Southfield Road is great for Golden Corral. They've said that's why we have all these people here speaking for this. This is hard sell. They want to be here because it's going to be a great location for them, unquestionably. I don't think it's going to be great for the city of Southfield. And I want to tell you something about the traffic study. I knew, and I know that I was probably driving them crazy because I kept saying, I know what the traffic is here. And I went home and I said, this doesn't compute. There's something wrong with this picture. It just doesn't compute. Then I found out, and this one really got me, the traffic study was done in August, and it was done on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And oh, by the way, in May, Southfield Freeway was closed down. M39 was closed down. And oh, by the way, I don't know that the lighting timing was changed, but anybody that lives in Southfield, what did you see with all these signs saying, staff Southfield take this different alternate route. So a traffic study was done in August when the freeway is closed. wonder, clearly it's going to be a bonanza for Golden Corral. It is going to have an impact on the businesses, I have no doubt, on the restaurants. There's no question that it's, how can it not? I don't buy this that it's going to help your restaurant. I don't think so at all. You're already feeling, no, I'm sorry, I wasn't born yesterday. I think to see it be pursued in another area, maybe one of the dealerships up on Telegraph Road, I think, or on, really, Northland would be a great place. We're going to have busloads of people come in after church on Sunday, and the time that you want to be home alone and you're home in the evening, the hours are until 10 o'clock at night on the weekend. You're going to hear that. You can't not, because it's so peaceful there right now. People have gardens, they have patios, they have screen and porches. You're going to have fumes from cars. You're going to have fumes from cars. You're going to have fumes because if it's as busy as they say it's going to be, you're going to have fumes from the cars in the parking lot. You're going to have busloads. You may have motorcycles. You're going to have busloads coming into this restaurant in this peaceful, quiet neighborhood. Now, we're talking about the rezoning. The rezoning, I should read to you part of the letter that Seymour Mandel, who was an architect who's been on our planning commission for many years, recently retired from there. He wrote a very poignant letter about what that office services zoning district was meant for. And he said our forefathers had the wisdom to decide to make that zoning office services because it was designed as a buffer to protect the residents' neighborhood from the commercial activity. And yet we're being told now best thing that we could do is change the rezoning, change the whole everything that's going on in the neighborhood, change everything, change things apparently for zoning to do it. Obviously the traffic study is of no value because it was done at a time when we had less traffic. And done at the beginning of the week, not when the business times would be. I do not support this location, and I do not support rezoning, and I hope we're going to go in rezoning, because if the rezoning does not pass, there will be no site plan to do this stuff. I don't know anything about the restaurant, but people have spoken well of it. I think this is the wrong location. Great for Golden Corral, their business, but harmful to the neighbors, harmful to the local restaurants. A traffic hazard is going to create more traffic hazards. I just think the wisest thing we can do is say no, and if we can help you find another location in Southfield, I'm sure that there would be people that would be willing to do that. But I feel very strongly that this is not the hard sell. Even troubles me. I mean, we're being have people from other neighborhoods that don't know us here having to tell us what's good for us, and they couldn't possibly know. Couldn't possibly know. That is hard sell beyond anything I've ever seen in my life. And I'm just letting you all know right now I'm opposed to it. I think the quality of life for our Southfield residents has to be primary. I support businesses in Southfield, but I don't support them when they hurt the residents and hurt other businesses. It's just wrong. It's just wrong. On the traffic study, I had a couple people tell me, and they even, the Golden Corral people have said that our traffic engineer signed off on this. Well, what he did was verify the figures that came in from the traffic study, because those are all recorded. He verified that. He did not sign off on it. He didn't give his blessing. He just said the figures that they gave that were recorded on the traffic monitors were correct. So I talked to his boss, and I got this report directly from his boss. So don't buy this stuff, because he didn't sign off on it. He didn't give it his blessing. That's just not true.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Where do I start? This is really orchestrated pretty good tonight. I think the Westland bus leaves in 5 minutes. Let me just start by saying that A lot of things that were discussed, talked about the zoning, the traffic, the adverse effects of the neighborhood, I think is quite overlooked, and it's quite different than the previous public hearing that we had, in that it was a dormitory, it was next to a university, and it was very large lots, and quite a distance between the facility and the individual's residence. But I sat on a site plan committee, and I guess I just thought about this for a minute, and then I said to myself, having been around here for a long time, you know, what is the big rush on this? Because we had site plan meeting last Monday before the council study, and then it's on tonight. But when you have something of this density and this magnitude of usage in the neighborhood, you know, sometimes I, in particular, like to have time to sleep on it and see what effect it does have, not only in the neighborhood, but in this community. And it seems like, you know, between, you know, all the pressure that has come from wherever for this request and hearing this thing before this body gives me the idea that you can't live within your reputation. You've got to push this thing through, regardless of some of the negatives that are going to be existing. When you talk about Walmart, yes, you would get a sucking effect and all these other businesses for sure. And anybody who's been in the restaurant business, which I haven't, know that any business that opens, you're going to have some disparity in groups and changes in your clientele. In this particular case, when you have you know, $10 all you can eat, the far cry from the restaurants and business that we've had in the city. We had Country Buffet over there at 12 Cal Mall at one time, and those kinds of places. But when somebody talks about 30 restaurants in that area, you know, I was thinking about not only the ones that are there, but how many have gone by the wayside. And, you know, we've had restaurants of all kinds between 12 and 15 Mile Road that have existed. CC's just left. That was a type of a buffet, all you can eat. You had the two restaurants across the street, Mario's and Quincy, is it? The Japanese house. You know, you have Arby's over there, and we had a restaurant down close to 13 Mile Road. So then in the shopping center, you got a whole row. The Big Boy is here, and I don't want to get in the middle between Big Boy and this restaurant. I don't believe in being parochial to any particular business. I just want to be able to say that I look at all the restaurants in the area and how they would be affected if something came in and drained especially lunch hours and dinner hours, which the dinner hours probably don't even exist to that extent, but lunch hours would be a disaster to all those restaurants that live with the lunch hour. And that's the way Southfield is in the restaurant business. You have a few places that have breakfast, but the main course here is when we have the 150-some thousand people come in to the city to work at 30 million square feet of office space, they're looking for a place to eat at lunchtime. They go home outside the city. We're some 6,000 people less than we were 10 years ago. So we don't have the population that we had when the census was taken. And yet we still are trying to keep the restaurants alive, all restaurants. You know, we lost Morton's across the street. We've seen many, many restaurants go out in the city. And we have been really clamoring for restaurants of some kind to come in. Basically, they are restaurants that are of a different type. Meaning that, you know, a place where you can sit down and do business, whatever, and maybe have a tablecloth, maybe not. But we don't have, for the businessmen that are going out, the CEOs, we do not have any more restaurants in the city. We have the Golden Mushroom left, like I said, Morton's is gone, you may have Skylight Club, but I don't think we need another fast food, and I kind of underline that because it's more than fast food. It's like, we're gonna suck everybody in, $10 down, all you can eat, goodbye. And I guess, I just don't see that being an advantage to the city. Now, talking about the zoning, and that came before us, and looking at the, resolution, it says about the comprehensive master plan, local mixed use. Well, the office building to the north of this, I won't mention the name, but he said that it may have effect on his office building. And then you have, number 2, is that, the proposed B2 plan businesses will allow the petitioners to develop the property with new land uses compatible with the abutting existing developments. And really the abutting zones are really residential. And OS, which it presently is designed so that it is a buffer between major development or highways and residential. And so this doesn't even meet the criteria when you put something like a D2 into the area which is next to residential. The third item that states in favor of this is that the rezoning will not have an adverse effect on the neighborhoods and the adjoining property. Well, you know, that could be said both ways. To me, the impact of that neighborhood would be tremendous. I've been in that neighborhood probably about 50 years. My son still lives at Pearson 12 Mile Road. So I know what happens over there. They open an encore, and people cut through the veterinarian alley, getting Southfield Road already. They cut down Pierce to Edwards to take the shortcut. People from Greenfield come down Edwards Street to get over to Southfield. And so when I see that traffic study, I was wondering how that was done. Matter of fact, you have cars that are waiting for the light going west on 12 Mile Road will take Lathrop Street and cut through just to avoid the signal. So you have a lot of different turns that take place. In talking about turns, you look at Southfield Road itself. Between, you might say, Home Depot where you have a light, and all the different driveways that you have that come into Southfield Road, just in that half mile, are tremendous. And each one is trying to get out, and the only light you really have is Edward Street. You have the one at Home Depot, you have the one at Webster, you have the one at 13 Mile Road. And that is supposed to break traffic, but it doesn't, because the computers at 12 Mile and Southfield, they push traffic depending on the length of traffic, so that sometimes you never get a break to get across the street. Now you're going to have left-hand turns coming into this southerly driveway from the site plan, and that backs up into the shopping center that's across the street, that is not at the light. Then you're going to have McDonald's come in that was approved by council, and that has no signal light to it. And you have a Cracker Barrel that comes through there. And then you have all the stores that are where the trailer park was coming out. And you start looking at all these different businesses that come out on the Southfield Road, and that just becomes a tremendous thing to fight each and every day. And to put, I'm sure it's not an exaggeration of the amount of business you're going to have, because you're going to bring them in within 5 miles. So that is going to even create more density, more traffic, more impact on the neighborhood, and drain the businesses that we have. And we're going to have to deal with closed businesses instead of helping them out and encouraging to get and expand. We're going to have to say, sorry guys, but because you guys can't make it, goodbye. So you're talking about the amount of jobs. Well, what is the overall return on jobs when you go in? What is the value of the businesses that go out? What is the value of of the payrolls and everything else that you mentioned here. I guess I just, I guess I don't know that much about this restaurant. I know there's one in Clinton Township mentioned, one at Westland. But I don't think any of them are placed, from what I hear, placed in a dense restaurant, busy street, like the one you're proposing. I think they're both out, either on Hall Road, out in a wide open space, where there are no residents. Westland, I'm not sure, it's near a shopping center, away from residential, but to come into this city, into that area, and impact it, and I really believe it will, and I'm sure you're looking at major traffic in your restaurant, is going to cause more adverse effect in that neighborhood. And in council, I try to see through all these things, and I wish I had more time to really kind of get some idea of what we're talking about is in movements off of Southfield Road into this restaurant, and how the left turns are going to work. And I'm sure that they have a right turn only going out on the site plan. But you look at the parking lot in itself. You take the parking lot and add those cars, and then if they bring in buses on top of that, you're talking about a lot of density. You're going to have, if it is buses, you're going to have buses cutting across, trying to get out. I mean, I just don't see how we can take an area that has been kind of rural and quiet, and it has been buffered by an office building that maybe was 70% occupied, that you've been living with and you're used to, and now add the impact that is out before us. And I just have a real hard time, and I know that I'd like to have businesses come into the city, and it's important that we continue to grow, but I'm not ready to risk the future of this city on just anything. You know, the first thing that comes along and offers the big plum for me doesn't really have an effect on my thinking. I mean, I just want to know whether it's good for the neighborhoods, if it's good for the city, if it's good for the businesses that are presently existing, if the area contains those businesses it now contains, if it stays viable. I mean, I've seen Federal's department store all boarded up, Sears Roebuck all boarded up. I mean, I lived through these years when we had boarded up businesses all throughout that area. And now, you know, you have a piece of property, a real estate guy wants to sell it, and an owner wants to sell it, and I guess I have to think deeper than that. I have to say, is it going to be good for the city long term? And I really don't believe it. I will not vote for it.
In all my public service of 38 years, 30 on the council and 8 on the police and fire, I have never heard a more truthful presentation tonight from Joan Seymour and Don Picassi. That I can't say anything more than they say, or better than they said tonight. And I feel the same way.
That's right. Thank you.
Let me say one other thing. Every one of your people who work for you should be given a raise. Because they came to testify. Of course they have to, because they're working for you. You give them a paycheck. But anyway, they were wonderful tonight.
That's right.
I couldn't beat it if I tried in another 40 years.
That's right. That's
Thank
right.
you.
That's right. That's right.
Thank you. I agree with Mr. Lance, Ms. Seymour, and Mr. Picassi. I live in the area, and I am familiar with everything that's being said. I love the Golden Corral, don't get me wrong. I'm not opposed to the restaurant coming into Southfield, it's just the area, it would impact the residents greatly. And I have a concern for that, and I hear you when you come out and speak. I know that this is something that you don't want to have to live with every single day. So I hear you, and I agree with my colleagues. I think what they've said and how they've said it is very eloquent, and I appreciate that. And I can't add much more to that either, other than I live there and I know what you're saying. I'm on the west side of Southfield Road, but I shop on the east side all the time, so I'm very familiar with what's going on. So. Well, my perspective is just a little bit different. I actually live on that side of town. I've talked to people here since it came up, and there has not been one person that I've talked to who was not excited that the Golden Corral would possibly come to Southfield. My concern, though, is that I think that we have a problem on Edwards, and it wasn't caused by the Golden Corral, and had people testify that folks are going there to Wendy's, and they're going 60 miles per hour down the street now, and someone said nobody likes to drive on 12 mile. I like to drive on 12 mile. I never go down here to Edwards. I only really looked at that shortcut the other day when I was over there taking a look for myself to see exactly what we were talking about. But I live in that area, and I don't shortcut down Edwards, but there's a problem on Edwards Street. And it's a problem that the city, we need to address, regardless if you have Golden Corral there or not, because that problem is there. The gentleman who said he didn't feel safe with his kids riding in the street shouldn't feel safe with them riding in the street now, because there's obviously a problem on that street. I was very much concerned about Big Boy. As I looked at the 30 restaurants located on the street, I don't think that a Golden Corral would have a great impact on most of those restaurants. It would have a real impact on our the fast food we drive through. Golden Corral, seniors and families, you get out, you go inside, you can't take out. I didn't think it would have an impact on Jet's Pizza because it's a totally different kind of food. I don't think it would have an impact on Baskin's, Robinson's, totally different types of restaurants. But Big Boy, I think that it would have an impact on Big Boy. Now, I don't know if the people should have the choice as to where they eat at the expense of the restaurant, but I think that Big Boy would be the loser here long term. So I did have a concern about Big Boy, but more so, I think that there's a problem at Edwards Street. I think that that's something that we can, that we need to address, that we shouldn't ignore, period. And Golden Corral, which doesn't look like this is going to pass, since we had 4 people just now speak against it, were to be approved, we need to address that street anyway. The only thing that I haven't heard is about other areas in the city. We have a lot of spots in the city. I haven't heard about, that lot there, maybe running, I don't know what it's costing the investor to purchase it. Maybe it's such a good price. It's probably the ideal location because it's halfway, it's close to Beverly Hills, it's close to Birmingham, it's close to Berkeley, it's close to Detroit, it's close to Oak Park. It's pulling in a very mixed vehicle, the car dealership. I'm like, are you kidding me? Have we not been talking about the last year and a half, 2 years, about the mess on Telegraph? I don't know that that's the place for it. I don't think it should go off Telegraph. I think Telegraph is harder to maneuver than Southfield Road. But I think there's a spot here in Southfield for the Golden Corral, because everybody that I've talked to, a few people besides Joan that I've heard of said, no, I've never been there, I don't know anything about it. I haven't been to one in Michigan, but when I go to Florida, I've gone to Golden Corral, clean, good food, variety, balanced meal. So, to summarize, it doesn't look like this is going to pass. I think we need to address the issue of Edward Street, period. And if we had approved this, I think that we still could have addressed the issue of the traffic at Edward Street. So that's not stopping me. I'm concerned about Big Boy, not about the other businesses. But I'm not opposed to looking at some other locations in Southfield that might still be in that 5-mile radius, that may still have a good bargain, a good deal. I will close with, I didn't really appreciate today people who don't live in Southfield telling the council, and me in particular, about we should be ashamed of ourselves, and I didn't appreciate that. So if you weren't even here for this issue, you were here for another reason, and I was a little annoyed by it. I was not annoyed by the workers of Golden Corral. Actually, I applaud you. I applaud that you would come in to speak on behalf of your company. It tells me that there's good management going on, and it's a company that we, can look at and say, hey, their workers are willing to stay here till 1 o'clock in the morning, although when this airs, it may air in the morning or night. It is almost 2 o'clock a.m. What time is it? 1:51. Some of my glasses here. I think that's a 1. It is 1:51 a.m. We have been here since 7 o'clock. We've been here a while. So I applaud the employees in Golden Corral. You're a testament to the company. But I was annoyed at people who were not here, even for this issue, who dared got us to this mic to tell us what was best for us. How dare you? I didn't appreciate it. It turned me off. You don't know our city and our residents or our issues. And so I was not, that dissuaded me quite a bit. So with that, hoping, because I say to people, oh, we're going to have a Golden Corral, like, oh man, when's it going to open? That we can offer you help you find you another spot in Southfield. If it's the demographics and 5-mile radius, hopefully we can find something that's at a good price, that's not based on a neighborhood street. And keep it away from Big Boy, because Big Boy has been true to Southfield residents. You hung in there with us. We had some hard times. Big Boy go out of business, although I've only been there maybe one time in the last 2 years. That's about it. I think I could have gone either way with this. I think I could have fixed Edward Street. And I think that I still can. I think I still can go. If mine was a tying break, I think I would vote for it, because I think we could fix Edward. But Big Boy would be an issue. I would have a hard time with that one. A hard time. Well, I'm finished.
Okay.
Mr. Freeman.
Mayor?
If you want.
I'm not going to repeat a lot of things that have been said, but just a couple of observations. I really don't believe that it is the council's responsibility to regulate competition. People have a business plan, and I don't want to see anybody hurt. And I also think that the Golden Corral offers something very different. When you think of restaurants that I like in the area. Big Boy is great. Taste of Ethiopia is very different. Leo's Coney Island. Great family atmosphere there, and so on. So we have choice, and people make choices, and this is a little different. I'm excited about the prospect of Golden Corral coming to Southfield. I also, one of the things that when you serve for a while on council, every time there's something comes along that's new, then people a lot of times automatically go to not in my backyard. Yeah, it's a great idea. We've had other complaints about traffic on Southfield Road, whether it was Home Depot, whether it was the condos, or the trailer park site, whether it was Target, and really a lot of that is not panned out. The police department tells us that when they do enforcement, set up traffic enforcement in neighborhoods because of complaints of speeding, running stop signs, disobeying one-ways, 70% of the violators live in the neighborhood. I would encourage the Bedford Woods Association to make this an issue in your neighborhood with your neighbors, whether Golden Corral or something else goes on that corner. This is a fact. I would love to see Golden Corral come to Southfield. My first responsibility, and again, this is a little bit like Mr. Percassi was mentioning, the site plan that we had before us earlier this evening with Lawrence Tech, that's a transitioning neighborhood. That is a neighborhood that has gone the tipping point towards LTU. It is tipped in LTU's favor. When the majority of the property in that neighborhood are now owned by LTU. But I always feel, and I said it about LTU, people deserve, and I start with my own neighborhood in Southfield, Magnolia neighborhood. We all want quiet enjoyment of our neighborhood, of our property. And so I will always defer to the residents when it comes to imposition on their neighborhood. I think the city, and I agree with Ms. Garrison, that the city does need to do another look at what's going on with Edwards and the cut-through traffic and the people that disobey the one-way. The other thing about Edwards is it's a fairly narrow street, and it does not have sidewalks. So those are real concerns, and I do think that some people would go from Greenfield one way appropriately all the way to Southfield Road to get to the Golden Corral or whatever happens on Southfield Road. So I'm not in favor of the rezoning at this time, but I hope that we get something there that's compatible. And I also hope that we can work with Golden Corral to find another location in Southfield. I'd really like to have you here, and you're telling us that Golden Corral would work in Southfield.
Yes, I wanted to go along with Councilwoman Garrison. The issues that we're hearing on Edwards Street or Road has nothing to do with Golden Corral. One of the things that we heard is that the street was blocked off in the 80s. We have a number of streets that are blocked off that the fire department has breakaway chains or other things that would allow the emergency trucks to enter an area. If the concern is that strong and
there were abilities to get petition signs against a restaurant, I would think this street would be, these residents would be as proactive as blocking off that street. And I know for a fact we have a number of streets that abut to 8 Mile to Service Drive who have blocked their street off, but it still have access for emergency personnel and trucks. And I really, something is going to go into that location. And it can be something different from a Golden Corral, and you would have to get everybody together again and start talking about your trash. If it's seriously a concern of yours, I would say block it off again. It is a narrow street. There are no sidewalks. These issues are there. There is nothing to prohibit anyone from taking that as a shortcut if they so choose. It's a public, open street. But if that is seriously a concern, I would think the same passion to get your street blocked off so that no one can go there and you only can go one way would be something that this community would work just as hard for so that you would block the traffic off. The other thing I want to say is that all we hear consistently is that we need new restaurants. We want national chains in our city. And we've just gone through a process where we picked apart a restaurant. There's a number of restaurants that are national chains I don't particularly care for, but it adds value to a community. I will give you an example of the Melting Pot, which is in Novi. It's a very unique restaurant. It's considered a desirable one. Restaurants, if you notice, communities that have restaurants, they cluster. You'll see one and then you'll see another one, and it develops this cluster. In the city of Southfield, we don't have a cluster area. Now, we've named a number of restaurants that are on Southfield Road. Very few of them are sit-down diners. They're mostly all take-out restaurants. And that is one of the issues that I hear repeated in the city of Southfield, is that we do not have enough sit-down restaurants. Now, the fact if I go into a restaurant or not does not mean that as an elected official I should say that restaurant shouldn't come to this city. And as we heard, Southfield restaurants, people drive all over to go to this Golden Corral. That's where they want to eat. That has nothing to do with my personal palate. I hear the vote of this council. However, if this Golden Corral, just like Darden Corporation, they own Red Lobster, they own the Hamburgers, they own Capitol Grill, all these restaurants. If corporations hear that the city of Southfield is not open for business, they're not going to bring their other chains here. And I think that you should be very clear on embracing new concepts and new restaurants if we truly want them, or else we don't want them. You either want them or you don't. And this process that we're going through, and we're saying we hope to find another location, I really don't know how that works. But we need to be, because if we keep, we're talking on both sides of our mouth. We're shutting them down unless we want them. So how do we go through the exercise of identifying locations so we don't have this process of bring restaurants here and go through all of this and then get them here to this spot and say no. We need to really, if we truly want restaurants and we truly want to sit down in some variety, then where do we want them? Have the city planner or have the site plan committee, whoever you want, to go through the exercise. Because that's one of the complaints I hear all the time. We don't have enough restaurants. You know what? The citizens in Southfield are going to drive to wherever if they put it in Troy, they're going to leave Southfield and they're going to go to Troy to go to that restaurant. They leave here and they go to the Olive Garden. They leave and go to these other restaurants. So are we open for business, or are we going to close you down? And it's not the point of me saying this is not to criticize your decision. That is not what I'm doing. But we've got to find a better process. Because I don't want the word to get out that Southfield is not open to restaurants. When that's, I know you talk to your constituents, and that's what you hear. All of you said, we need more restaurants in Southfield, more sit-down restaurants, because we don't have that many. And we've got to find a way to get there. This is not the way to have a company go through all of this and then get them right to the door and then shut them down. But that issue of that street, if it's no other way, because you cannot stop people from driving down the street if it's a public, open street. You can't do it. There's a school there, and there's nothing you can do to stop people from driving down the street. However, if you want to close it off so it deters people from cutting through, you have that right. You did it before. And if it was for emergency vehicles, we have a model we can use. We've used it all over the city, where your emergency vehicles can get through. But I've heard some pushback. We don't want to shut our street off because it shuts us off from going through. Well, we got to come to some consensus. We can police it, make sure people don't speed, but you can't stop people from driving down a public street. You just can't do it. There's nothing to stop from doing it. But I know every time I mention to someone that Golden Corral was looking at Southfield, they were very excited. And I'm not like one of these people who came to the mic and drive to Golden Corral 36 times. I'm not the one. But the fact that our constituents were excited, they were excited about a Golden Corral. It wasn't Olive Garden, it wasn't it. It was a Golden Corral, and they got excited. And now the decision is being made. And I really, really want to push the council to consider a way that we can be very clear on recruiting restaurants. Because right now this process isn't good. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. McCarthy?
Yeah, Mayor, I'd like to answer you. I think it's very clear where restaurants are located. They're in a B2 zone. They're not in an OS zone. And so when you go into a neighborhood and you put a density that's adverse to the neighborhood, you're going to get that reaction every single time. And it doesn't send a message out there to the restaurant people that we don't want restaurants. They look at the demographics. They mentioned it. They look at the census tract. They know what the earning is. They know what their houses are worth. They know everything when they find location, how many cars are down the street. There's a whole scenario of things that they look for. And that's what restaurants look for. In this particular case, they have a certain little model that they have, and it kind of fit within that census tract. But at the same time, at Edward Street, those are wide lots. If you put in sidewalks, they can't afford it. And then we went through this process a long time ago. Tried to put sidewalks in. It's a assessment district. They can't afford it. And why that alternative one way was placed there is because that took away some of the traffic that was cutting through. When 12 Mile Road was blocked, they would come down Edward Street both ways to cut off the intersection. And I think it served a purpose. I think the only problem is that sidewalks in that area do not exist. And you have kids at Vandenberg that can't walk down the sidewalk, you walk in the street. The bicyclists, they go down the street. You get down there in the morning and you got people who are running down the street. And so, it becomes not just a street for cars, it becomes actually a place where people go out and exercise and do whatever they're doing in that piece of ground. And so, I guess I don't believe that we have cooled our goal to get restaurants. I just think that they have to come in and be at the right place, and I'm not willing to sacrifice the neighborhood for restaurants.
And Mr. McCarthy, Councilman McCarthy, you and I agree that street is not conducive for walking, driving, and everything else because the street is too narrow. And so we are agreeing that street should be blocked off because people want to walk, there's children walking, and it deters people from cutting through.
But it's working.
So we agree.
It's worked ever since we changed it. It's worked.
They said it's not. They said it's not.
They get traffic, but it's not anywhere near the traffic where it once was.
That's not what we heard tonight.
Well,
But the other thing, we went through, and this council, I sat on, it, what we went through with Target, what we went through with the Home Depot was amazing. What we went through with, and you know what? You got a big one coming because you've got the Archdiocese. They're gonna sell that development. We went through a couple of people already who are trying to develop that corner. They're gonna sell it to someone, and we're gonna be right back to this point. And it is Southfield Road, and there's developments that have come and gone. It's America, and we can't dictate
that
where a
project was
restaurant
turned
goes.
down, there was a McDonald's for the corner, and there was storage. And the planet came in on that piece,
And we just did a McDonald's.
and people didn't want storage in their backyard, they didn't want McDonald's on the corner.
Look at what we just did with that McDonald's we just approved, and you were debating about the light shining into the residential area
And I
there.
voted against it.
I know, I said you were opposed to it, but we're gonna, because we're not a green, open space city, we're gonna have this debate on every development that we have. And I'm just saying, I want restaurants in the city, and I just want us to find a way to get there.
We spent an awful lot of time this evening talking about a couple sensitive issues, and I'd like to weigh in on this one. I agree with Ms. Garrison about whether or not the restaurant goes in. We need to do something about the traffic on Edwards. In fact, I agree with everyone, but she started it, so I'll give her credit for bringing the subject up. I also agree with Mr. Cyber that it is not our role to referee competition between businesses. One of the things that goes through my mind when I'm trying to make a decision is first rule of business is location, location, location. And when a developer or a petitioner comes before us and they feel that they have the right location for their business, then it behooves us to take a look at all the requirements that we think as a city that are needed in order to make that business fit with our ordinances. Once that's satisfied, if that petitioner thinks that's the best place for their business, then I think we should try to honor that whenever we can. Today we heard a whole series of people that came to the microphone that talked about, gee, I really like Golden Corral, but I don't want it in my neighborhood. Move it to somebody else's neighborhood. Well, again, I don't think the city council's responsibility is to select a site for a restaurant because if location is the key to success, then we don't have the skills to pick another site that might be successful. Plus, if we picked another site, it's very likely that you would all be home sleeping, but another group of people would be in here doing the same thing that you're talking about. We want Golden Corral in our city, but not in my neighborhood. So we are caught with the dilemma of trying to do the thing that is best for the city, best for the neighborhood, and it's a constant balancing act of trying to get it right. We do everything we can to get it right. And the other piece is, of all the people that sat at this table, I'm probably more aware of what's going on in this location than most other people. And I'm probably overhanging my knowledge about how much everybody else knows. And the reason I say that, though, is because the church I attend was in that building that burned. We had leased space in that building, so I was at that building several times a week, and I saw the traffic on Edwards, I saw the traffic on Southfield Road. And frankly, I didn't see that much traffic coming out of Edwards, going west on Edwards towards Southfield Road. Now, I'm gonna also say, I wasn't there every day, and I wasn't there at every time during the day. So, I can only say, of the times that I was there, I didn't see that much traffic coming out of Edwards, and it was controlled by the light. But, with that said, we still have an issue on the table that we have to act on tonight, and if there's no one else that wants to say anything, I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the rezoning for ZR 1311.
No.
For the sake of argument, or to the vote, I will move the rezoning request for the Golden Corral, or I probably should say from office service to B2 for ZR 1311.
No.
Do you have a second?
No.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the rezoning request from OS to B2 for the Golden Corral location. Madam Clerk, I want to make this a roll call vote.
Thank you. Ms. Garrison?
You know, I'm going to have to say yes, because I think that we could address the problems there. And I think business model would determine the businesses that would survive. So I'm going to say yes, I think that we could do it.
Mr. Lamb?
Wait. What are we?
No.
Rezoning.
Don't approve.
Only talk about rezoning. Rezoning.
Say no.
The piece of property from OS to B2.
No. Right. You're not approving it, no.
We have to vote.
No.
No.
Mr. Lance votes no.
Mr. Steinberg?
No.
Ms. Taylor?
No.
Mr. Fracassi?
No.
Ms. Seymour?
No.
And Mr. Frazier?
I'm going to vote no. By defeating this motion, then the special use and site plan is canceled. So I'm going to call a recess before we go into our next. We don't have a public hearing because we had the public hearing on July the 18th. All we have is.
Can I make one comment?
Oh, yes.
For the sake of the city, and I know it doesn't really,
Could I have to fire into play, please?
for the sake of the city and listening to the mayor and looking at this whole thing, I've been at Golden Corral 34 years. To get to this point, and the franchisee spent probably close to $200,000 on this deal. You know, I've been in business for myself. Maybe some of you have, maybe some of you haven't, but I know what it's like to write a check. We should have never been approved by your city planners 6-1 to do this project, to come here tonight and get a vote 5-1. Something is wrong with that system, and it is telling America. I am not sure today if the city of Southfield is open for business. Mayor, I respect what you said, and think hard about what I'm saying, because what I'm saying is, if we were told, if we went through the process, when I went to that meeting on the site approval with the 3 site people on the site plan, everything was new news. And we've been through this. We've fought this product. We talked about the concerns, but yet we got approved. And now we come tonight at 3 o'clock in the morning, $200,000 in investment to get this thing done, and we get a vote 5-1. Like I said, it doesn't matter. I'm here to help get a Golden Corral in the market. We have been up and down these roads. People talk about Northland, Southland, all these areas. These people in some of these markets, they don't want to sell. They want a ground lease. You can't borrow money on a ground lease. That's
That's a whole nother story, another conversation. I'm just saying, as a business person, as a professional, which we tried to be through this whole process, everything you wanted, we did. Make a wall taller, 2 more feet, you got it. More trees, you got it. Pond over here, you got it. Whatever you wanted, we did. And to vote 6-1 yes, and go through all these meetings and all this process, because you start off 3 no's, 4 no's, 5 no's, one person that thinks maybe it's a good idea, something in the system, Mayor, is wrong. I'm just telling you, ma'am, I respect what you said, I respect everyone in this committee. This is your job to vote. But something in the system is wrong. That's all I'm saying. I hope, who knows what the future will bring, because I think this is a great town, a great market, and I even shoot myself in the foot right now, just being honest, like I've been through the whole process. I've been an honest guy, telling me honest facts, and that's all I'm saying, Mr. President.
I'm sorry it didn't work out, and I understand your frustration of having gone through this, and maybe we need to review our process. But one of the things about the Planning Commission is, the Planning Commission, when they vote, it's only a recommendation. They aren't making a final decision. They make a recommendation to the City Council, and, pardon me?
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, the site plan committee, no, let's straighten this out. No, the site plan committee did not give approval. There were 3 no's, site plan.
So, but I'm sorry that it worked out the way it worked out.
I just want to address what Mayor Lawrence said, and it goes directly to his point. He has been through a very long process, and the residents also have been through a long process. One of the key components missing early in the process was engaging the residents. There you go. We were never told about him engaged in that property location. About a handful of residents got notification, and they quickly spread the word through the neighborhood. That's how we found out. We were not engaged in this very, expensive process that he had to go through until the very end when they got to the Planning Commission and they were near the vote. So we need to be engaged. When you're talking about rezoning an area from a very docile environment into a restaurant, that's going to bring your residents to these meetings. And I think they need to be engaged very early in the process. Golden Corral never engaged any residents.
As I said, we may need to review our process of how it takes steps through the process.
Just, you know that I go through this process on a regular basis, and it's been mentioned quite often, and including by your planning director, to provide a site plan first with rezoning puts bias on your decision. If you had never known that there was going to be the site plan that we had, would you change the zoning to B2?
No.
I see no's there. When you consider all of the different, and the neighbors did, the neighbors knew all of the possibilities. The local residents, the ones close by, knew all of the possibilities. It was read to them one at a time for B2 and for office service. The work that we end up going through to provide a decent site plan and go through your entire process and have your decision being made on something that you really shouldn't know about. Most communities that I know of don't have a site plan for the rezoning process. It's the rezoning itself on its own basis. And the approval of all your department heads, the approval of your planning department, the approvals, the recommendation of your planning, your site plan process, until you get to here, and it is a difficult situation. So I agree that it should be reviewed, looked at, and made a little more developer-friendly, I think.
You know, Mr. Dorchin, your point is well taken. If I didn't know this was the Golden Corral or the size of the project, I probably would have voted for a B2. Given that we don't need more office service, that we need to more variety or options for other kinds of businesses. So your point's well taken, and I think that we need to take that back.
As I say, we need to.
Well, your master plan indicates, at least that I could see, uses like this.
Mixed use, yes.
Which is why we have sufficient, I think, impetus to go ahead. Going through, having people sit around here cheering as if this was a football game is embarrassing. It's embarrassing for them. It's really embarrassing for me. I don't know how you feel about it, but I've gone through this with your planning commission and your city council for so many years, with Don being, Councilman Fracassi, even commenting on the materials I should use on my own office building. And, it's something that I remember for a long time. And not that I was opposed to it, I appreciated his comments, but that was his only bad comment at that time, and I'm happy with being in Southfield, and, I'd like to see more people come into it, but you've got more and more open space, and it may stay like that. This is difficult.
Since you called my name, Mr. Dorchin, let me just say this to you.
Yes, sir.
If you're keeping score, you're doing real well in this city.
Yes, I have.
All right, so don't complain.
I'm not complaining.
Well, I kind of feel like, if I asked you to put something on to make the community a little nicer, that's my feeling. There's 7 members here. If they don't like what I say, they can vote overturn it. But I'm just saying to you that I think you've been treated very fair in the city.
I didn't say that I didn't, and I said that I appreciated your comment. And I think the whole process should be reviewed.
Yeah, and it will be. I don't know how in the world this thing got this quick shot through. To be honest with you. I said, I don't know how it got. I mean, the first time we seen it was last Monday. Last Monday was the last thing. We never even got the planning minutes. Okay?
Yes.
I'm telling you the way it is.
And I'm not saying that that's
We had a
right
site
or
plan
wrong.
committee at 4 o'clock. You guys were on at 7 o'clock, and this is on 7 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning tonight.
Well, we
I
might.
mean, how could you expedite anything faster than if it was, if the message was clear that, hey, this was a good deal and it's going to fly through?
No, I agree. Then we should have just brought it to you directly and skipped the 5 or 6 meetings that we had with the planning commission.
Okay, it's late at night or early in the morning. I'm a little mixed up on which is which. But I'm gonna call a break. We've been here for another half day.
Just a second to go through these. Pardon? Just take a second. Public hearing, I'll just approve the public, GP.
But we've got to do the council, the council stuff, and
Well, that's it. The other one we did. Probably we did.
Okay, does everybody want to take a break or not?
No.
I'm done. Council. You want to get done? We have more items on our agenda to finish. We can either take a break, come back and finish them, or we can stay here and finish them, and then all go home.
Let me make a motion, see where it goes. And I'll move item E, GP 1224, 1225, 1226, 1227. Public hearing was held on July 18, 2011. I move that these items be approved.
I support. Mr. President, if I might, just as a point of order, Mr. Crowd, I'm sure would support me. His recommendation tonight is that you only act on 2 of the 4 items. And Mr. Cassie, if I could suggest then, if you just amend your motion, Mr. Crowd, correct me if I'm wrong, you want items
1226 P and
1227.
1227 P.
1226 and 1227.
Okay, I amend my motion to just be on 1226 and 1227.
Support. Okay, thank you, Mr. Attorney. It's been moved and supported that we approve item GP 1226P and 1227P. Is there any discussion? Are we prepared to vote? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? It is carried.
And that's an ordinance, so we'll need an ordinance.
Yeah, we need, Okay, we need an ordinance number.
1857.
What happened here? 1587.
15 what?
1587, we need to.
I move that ordinance 1587 be introduced.
It's been moved by Mr. Perkassi, supported by Mr. Cybert, that we introduce ordinance number 1587. Are we prepared to vote? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It is carried. We have,
Appointments to delegate.
Yes.
I'm not going. Am I going?
Are you going?
I know they just approved this
Are you going to be the delegate?
Wait, excuse me for a moment, please. What are we doing with, the first two, GP 1224?
Still withdrawn.
They were both withdrawn?
They were withdrawn by the plan.
In this ordinance for GP?
1226 and 1227.
Through the chair,
Thank you.
through the chair,
Yes.
just for clarification. 1224 P and 1225 P were requested a postponement to a date certain in your October meeting so that the new building official can give us their comments on this item.
Okay. So it's postponed to our October meeting, whatever the date of our October meeting is.
And you didn't let people comment on 26 or 27?
Because it's not a public hearing, we already held a public hearing. We have council items. Council item A is a point.
Well, who did we vote for delegate? Cyber? Ken Cyber.
Will you accept that as?
Yes.
Okay. And we need to have alternate.
You won?
I am going.
You be alternate.
I'll accept that. So item A is completed. The expense report. Pardon? We will accept it by acclamation. Item B is an expense report for Don Perkassi for the Detroit Economic Club in Detroit.
So moved.
It's been moved by Mr. Cybert, supported by Ms. Taylor, that we approve the expense report for Mr. Perkassi for the Detroit Economic Club. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I move the expense report for Don Perkassi to the Salute to Diversity in Detroit on August 30th.
It's been moved by Mr. Cybert, supported by Ms. Taylor, that we approve the expense report of Mr. Perkassi for the Salute to Diversity. Are we prepared to vote? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I abstain.
It's carried. Let the record show that Mr. Perkassi abstained on both B and C. We need a motion to
Approve a move to approve the expense report of Don Perkassi to the SEMCOG Transportation Advisory Council in Detroit, Michigan.
It's been moved by Mr. Cybert, supported by Ms. Taylor, that we approve the expense report for Mr. Perkassi for SEMCOG Transportation Advisory Council. Are we prepared to vote? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I abstain.
It's carried. And item E,
I move the expense report of Don Perkassi for the MML Michigan Municipal League Municipal Finance Subcommittee meeting in Lansing on August 23rd.
it's been moved by Mr. Cybert, supported by Ms. Taylor, that we approve the expense report for Mr. Perkassi for the MML Municipal Finance Subcommittee in Lansing. Are we prepared to vote? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It is carried.
Move we adjourn.
We have completed our agenda, and with no more new business, the meeting is adjourned.
So Terry Crowe, what's going on with GP?